All right. Hello. Wait, are we going? Are we rolling?
Yeah,
are we recording?
it's on.
Okay, cool. Welcome again to another exciting episode of the Terrorisk podcast. I'm here with my co-host and primary provider, Chris Kim. Joining, as always, is production assistant Richie.
Hello.
And a new, I think, guest, Ariel.
No, Ariel's been on before.
Oh, fuck me. Okay, well, anyway,
No, it's
first
fine.
time that
There's no way
Ariel's
you
been
could've
on at
known.
the same time I've been on, and I have enough solipsism that if I don't see you directly, I don't know if you exist or not.
No, reasonable.
Or maybe like lacking object permanence.
Okay, so for the first
No,
order
it's
of
all good.
business, Carmen wanted to, on behalf of our podcast, give an active endorsement to
Yeah, in the
Mayor.
mayoral election, I'm endorsing the re-election of our mayor, Eric Adams, in the upcoming mayoral election. We're all, at least I am, on CREAM, Committee to Re-elect Mayor Adams. I'm sorry, re-elect Eric Adams for mayor.
But it's only because he's black.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's a major fact. Much like in roulette, I bet it all on black.
Yep.
Yeah. identity politics.
Whereas Moron Mandami and KK Como are both red for being communist. Mayor Adams is a cool dude. Also, all irony aside, I think that he's both a hilarious figure and he's good at like basic services like cleaning up trash and putting more police on the subway to prevent homeless schizophrenics from stabbing people.
You know what? Everyone's kind of a joke, so why not just laugh about it all?
Yeah.
Everything's stupid. Whatever.
Yeah, it's far less rewarding to point out the wokeness in everything than it is to celebrate how problematic everything is.
That's true. It's very tedious, all the YouTube videos complaining about
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy and the like. It's far better just to go back to laughing at racist jokes and not be upset that people are woke. Really, it was a real detour from Trump administration went onward of people getting too upset at other people being upset and being even more upset in turn rather than just sticking to their guns.
And just being racist and
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
that.
Speaking again, as we were before,
Being anti-Semitic.
2000s and 2010s hipsters versus I don't know, the cultural shift that happened.
Well, Carmen was the one that introduced me to the more interesting elements of the post hipster era, because the hipster era was very focused on aesthetics, class, and like the shit you could get because of your social class or whatever. Whereas afterwards, after 2016, it was all fucking publicized as shit. So the hipsters basically degraded into like, my side is based and your side is just degenerate. And that's
Yeah.
basically what the leftists and the rightoids.
Yeah, the rivalry between baseness and wokeness is very tedious, and frankly, a lot of the statements about similar personality defects and behaviors are true. But yeah, more so in the aughts and tens up until Trump's election, a little bit before, because I was in Boston. I was seeing it emerge in 2012, but it really started taking off in like 2014. You previously signaled you were a cool person by having more refined taste in movies, music, literature,
But it all
food.
sucked anyway.
Man, I gotta say, like nowadays, every single small town has good coffee. Even if you have a bunch of shitty microbreweries that are all IPAs, you still have a wider range of beers everywhere you go.
So that's
One of the few major improvements millennials left on America was that we greatly increased the taste of the average American. Like, I know my little brother, like a decade ago, when he biked cross country, like at 17, he was telling me, oh man, like, there are so many places in America where I'm happy to see a Starbucks because the only other option for coffee is a diner with atrocious coffee. And that's like a dynamic that was true up until very recently.
I mean, you like what you like.
I also personally never cared for quote unquote good coffee. I just drank like straight like bodega shit, Dunkin' Donuts shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't until
I feel
recently
this.
I started grinding my own coffee beans, like whole coffee beans, that I realized like, wow, this does make a difference.
No,
I mean,
I
like-
totally feel what you mean. Like sometimes sometimes the so-called bad coffee just has a certain mood. Like recently I bought instant coffee because in Israel they're really obsessed with it. They drink a lot of it, and it gets me nostalgic for Israel. Kind of makes me feel at home in a way. So, sometimes the so-called shit stuff, it comes with its own feeling.
Oh, by the way,
a lot of
speaking
our
of-
shit coffee is actually better than coffee used to be. Is the thing. Is that particularly when I talk to older people, they're like, "No, it used to be really awful, and now Dunkin' Donuts is better than like the chock full of nuts that people used to drink."
But coffee aside,
Israel.
What really caused hipsters schisms was this was never talked about between hipsters because they really seldom talked about. This is before like the whole sexual discourse and sexual identity discourse and all that shit. But like, not all of the hipsters were coomers.
It's like smoking a cigar. If you'd like to try it. Okay, sorry. No, I apologize. Go on.
No, some of the like a lot of those hipsters were just fucking coomers, like drugged out coomers.
Well, also like we're talking about guys in their 20s, right?
Back then, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, very true. And I guess it. Okay, so like, I'm trying to remember the exact timeline because Me Too starts as like 2012 or 2014.
Like 2014.
Yeah, and it's following the Dear Colleague letter and like Title IX enforcement under Obama, wherein colleges were told to crack down on sexual assault, which got expanded to.
Oh, that was a fun group of years. I remember
Yeah.
that. Remember the mattress girl? Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mattress
God,
Girl.
That was a
Mattress
good
Girl.
one. Yo, Richie, can you pull up a picture of mattress girl?
Yeah.
I saw her on Tinder once.
Really? That's insane.
Pull up the Terrorisk. Bring that to the screen. Yeah, just wind that up. Screen that shit. Nick Mullen.
Okay, can I just say I'm going to be really contrarian now and say I really hated the whole believe all women thing because women can absolutely be liars.
Yeah, but I hated that. I hated that any one of us even had to say that. You know, like that should have went without saying. But I don't know. At least I kept that vibe. Like, you know what? I'm not even gonna argue this. That's not even true. Like, come on, you guys know that that's bullshit. Like,
You know, like just do the due process and
Yeah.
do the investigation. Just look for the truth. I just care about the truth.
she looks happy now.
She's an
honestly.
acupuncturist.
She's an
Yeah.
acupuncturist.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Bro.
landed on her feet. The guy she accused of rape had to change his name.
Yo, I gotta book her, dude. I need an acupuncture session from Emma Solkovitz. Definitely going for it.
That
I have
Polish
to,
Chinese hopper or whatever she.
and then I'm
was.
gonna ask her to come on the podcast, and then we're just gonna have a good time. We're just gonna talk about anything but rape and sexual assault in colleges. We're gonna talk about acupuncture.
Well, it was a bizarre time because I remember. I mean, at the time, I was being sincere when I said this is just too bold of a statement. You're grouping together. Much like, it's like how celebrity
that bit.
Me Too's range from Harvey Weinstein to Aziz Ansari. And it's like,
Louis CK.
these things got grouped together that were vastly different.
Yeah.
Between a guy, I remember my dad read the account about Aziz Ansari and said, "What's the problem?"
No.
He acted exactly like he does on Parks and Rec.
Like any
if
dork
you're
on a
going if you're going home with him, why are you bothered by him being a pushy dork? And also non-physically threatening.
Yep. Those are the good old days.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
good
know.
times.
Now, as a result, no one's fucking. Now, like that's our
Yeah,
solution collectively.
it's true.
Yeah.
Men are afraid to talk to women now. It's bullshit. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I keep trying to tell them, like, guy friends, don't be so scared. See, that's the problem with everything nowadays is everybody's so extreme. It's like you're a rapist or you're afraid to talk to women. Like, no,
Well, here's
just
what's
be
gonna happen.
human.
Like,
just talk to people.
Once the guys get locked, once like men our age get locked out of talking to women their own age, they're gonna start looking younger because those women aren't exactly like as jaded, I should say, with like the whole social dynamics that have been played out for the past fucking decade. Looking like it won't be abnormal to start seeing like a 30-year-old guy start talking to like 22-year-old girls and shit. Because like they're like, oh, I could actually talk to this girl and she's not gonna be like weird and crazy and insane and BPD or whatever,
Might still be, but in a different way. If only because, I mean, this is a selection effect. But so many Zoomers are extremely online, whereas only a minority of millennials that were. What?
I heard that actually online dating is kind of becoming less of a thing these days.
Yeah, but even meeting someone in person, at least in New York, I'm more likely, once again, might be selection effect.
Yeah, selection bias, maybe.
Yeah, but probably just because Zoomers grew up online, there's so many more. I spent like most of my teen years as a shut-in just on the internet all the time.
Well, just look at
there's a lot more Zoomers that had a phase like that than there were for millennials. It's been a lot easier to meet Zoomers who are extremely online than it is to meet millennials that are or were.
But there's also so much BS now with like a bunch of the people on the dating apps aren't even people; they're just chat bots and AI and stuff.
I don't know about that.
That's what I keep hearing. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I've been hearing from some people. Look, I could be wrong, but I've been hearing that with all the AI stuff on the internet now, there's going to be more and more of a turn to real life again because people are fed up with this shit. I mean, I for one, I'm hoping that's what happens.
I hope so
that would
too.
be cool.
It feels a lot more. Well, it's natural. Also, there's a lot of alpha in it, both in the tech startup term of potential and also being an alpha male. Woof, woof. Dating apps worked great. Well, I mean, like Tinder worked great when it launched a decade ago, or a decade and change. But I don't know, it wasn't filled with bots. It wasn't filled with people hyping OnlyFans or prostitutes or scams. It wasn't people. The biggest thing was just that people were less jaded by dating apps. I remember in like 2013, 2014, when you first downloaded Tinder, it was very easy to talk to people and get someone to go on a date.
It's still wrong, all right? Even if it worked a decade ago, Tinder was never the fucking answer. The only reason why it took off was because women found it too convenient for them. And it's true. It was stacked against guys, and it did give women the upper hand in dating again. So I think, but still, even then, what it turned into was fucked. Really, the real way you're supposed to meet people is to go out and do things, not to go out to bars and say, "Yo, let's go pick up bitches," or "Let's go pick up some cute guys." No, that's not the healthy way. That's what you do if you want to slut and hoe out for a fucking day, or if you want to dick down and get your dick wet or something. But that's not how you're supposed to really meet romantic partners. The best way, I could tell you, I don't feel it. I don't feel the social isolation because I do I do activities. I go to martial arts classes. I teach martial arts. I go to raves. I go to join different communities and shit. Go to punk shows.
Totally. Not gonna lie, the way I found people was always either through other people who I knew or through doing stuff I liked. It was never through going to bars or dating apps. Yeah. I met good friends on dating apps. Sure. Yeah. I honestly, two of my close friends I met on Tinder. But so I recommend them for everyone's different. In my case, it worked for finding friends. But it never worked for really anything romantic for me.
And it's so much easier than dating. You literally just join the local fucking dodgeball team in Brooklyn, or you just see a bunch of lonely adults bored, and you'll talk to them, and you'll either hate them or love them, and that's just the way to do it. I know you guys have moved to the city, so that's for true. You, it's it's still kind of a new game, but especially now because there's a huge influx of out of towners who now call New York City their home. I just want to let you guys know that the dating app thing, that's a dead end. If you really want to meet quality people, go take a fucking cooking class, go take a dance class, go take go join a book club. And I'm not talking about the party scenes. I mentioned the rave scene, but that's not good either. Or the Dime Square scene where the main activity is just getting fucked up. No, that's not the way to go.
Fucked up and then showing yourself at an event engaged in this
look, that lifestyle of social climbing and socialiteness, that's more for rich people. Rich people have a way better time being socialites than us fucking peasants. That's why if you look at Dime Square, there's a miasma to it. There's a whole miasmic vibe where it's it's a good time. I'm fucked up, but I know at the end of the night, this is going to be a lot more people are going to be talking shit and talking about how much love they shared between the community members.
Now, the point is to go to parties. You complain about the party or about the reading.
That's not
engage
good. But
in.
You know what? The rave scene is no different. The rave scene's the same bullshit. Everyone's just fucked up on ketamine and ecstasy, and then they're just talking shit about who saw who hooked up with who. I can't believe she's talking. Yeah, exactly. But it's never like that when you go to a cooking class, or when you go to a dance class, or when you go to a judo class. It's you meet interesting people, probably attractive people, because these are people that go out and do shit. They shared an interest with you, and I mean, I know if you joined a jiu-jitsu gym, you're gonna be rolling around sweaty with some fucking hot ass women, I've seen
hot ass men.
I've seen it, yeah, on both ends. I've seen it. It's usually some really, and it's not even they start out like that. It's they spend a month there and they become completely different people.
So obviously everyone is different, so I don't like to be prescriptive and tell people what they should or shouldn't do, but at least I know in my experience, for me, I really need to just connect with the person in a deep way before I get involved with them. So that's why all that shit you're talking about, like the parties and the dating apps and whatever, that never worked for me. Like I lived in Berlin for a long time, and I used to go to a lot of techno parties.
I'm sorry, can you speak like fluent German?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like your first language or?
No, Hebrew was my first language.
Right.
Were you born in Israel?
No, but my dad's Israeli,
Cool.
and my mom lived in Israel for a long time. So I
You
grew up
must have
speaking
some
Hebrew
really
in the
weird
house.
feelings about what's going on.
Oh my God!
geopolitically in the
Please don't
world.
get me started. Oh my
No,
God!
we're gonna have to get you
I-
started. That's what.
I've plenty to say is what I mean.
we'll get there.
I have a lot to say. I have a lot
You're
to
entirely
say.
Ashkenazi?
No, I'm half Mizrahi. My
Okay, cool.
dad's family's from Iraq.
Okay, cool.
You have any
cool.
Sephardic?
My
in there?
mom's family's
Sephardi?
Ashkenazi. No,
Oh,
no
no
Sephardi.
Sephardi.
Although when I was a little kid, the term Mizrahi did not exist. It was either Ashkenazi or
Or Sephardi,
Sephardi.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
my mom would always tell me I'm half Ashkenazi, half Sephardi. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
I'm not going to be able to do the Semitic throat clearing when I say these words. Forgive me if they're
No, I don't
torturous
care.
upon
Oh,
your ears.
please don't.
But-
No, you don't have
I mean, I know.
to. You don't have to be self-effacing
I'm gonna
about it. It's
butcher
all
the
good.
Yiddish
Mizrahi
words.
are Iraq and Persian Jews, correct?
That's Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern,
Although
probably.
technically all Jews are really Middle Eastern
Yeah.
because we're all indigenous to
Well, that's
Judea.
what Semitic.
Yeah.
Like, people think Semitic, the term, only refers to Jews. It's not true. Semitic also refers
It's also
to
Arabs.
It's a 19th century thing where they refer to Jews as Semites because of their
or Asians and Orientals.
Yeah, exactly. That just throws it like when you read those old descriptions of Jews dominating in basketball because their Oriental sneakiness is fitting for the game.
True.
Oh God, I always joke around with Darren about this.
He's a Hapa, right?
No, because yeah, he is. But so technically, he and I are both Oriental, so that's like our big joke. And
That's
then,
nice.
Accurate.
Yeah.
That's cute. Yeah.
No, but then we're always teasing each other. Go, who's more Oriental, you or me? But
Which one of his parents is Asian?
his dad.
Wow,
That's big.
interesting. Yeah.
No, because this is the formula. If like you're a Hapa and your mom is Asian,
Oh
like
God, I think I know what you're about to
You're
say.
Yeah.
Darren always says this.
you're like
Yeah.
Elliot Rodger. But if your dad's Asian and your mom's white, you're solid. Like,
Darren
you're
always
like
says.
superior.
Darren always talks about this. Oh fuck! I wish he were here right now.
Remember what Nick
Damn,
Mullen said?
I
He's
gotta
like,
tell him to get his
he's
ass
like,
here.
He's like, yo,
Shit.
if I was like an Asian guy with an average sized dick, that would be like the best life for me. Like,
Oh
I
my
would love
God.
it. That's basically what it is.
Wait,
He's like, I'd be good at math. I do karate.
Shit, I'm gonna text him right now and tell him to get his
Yeah.
ass over here.
I know.
That's some funny shit, though.
I was dating briefly a girl who had a Tibetan father and an Ashkenazi mother.
Yeah.
Oh whoa.
Which is fast. I probably have told this story before. I was more interested in her background than her as a person. That she was a nice person. I just wasn't very attracted to her. But I was just dating her because she told a spree shooting joke on her first date, and then I was like, I'm not too into her physically, but she's laughing at me talking about mass murder, so I should give her a chance. Didn't work out, but I was like, I definitely felt like it was a sign of her having an Asian father that she turned out the way she did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed half of that because I was texting Darren and telling him to get his ass over
He's
here.
talking
But
about his half Tibetan, half Ashkenazi girl.
Ex, yeah.
oh,
ex-girlfriend.
okay. So what? She was confident in her identity,
See,
or
here's
Yeah, she was. She had
Uh-huh.
issues with her body. when
Here's
she
the
was
thing about
born.
That's
Carmen,
too-
Ariel.
that's
He's
too
like
bad.
he's like intellectually racist. You know,
Yeah,
because
it's
like
true.
he will never. He doesn't really.
And sexually, I'm a Pokemon master and
Yeah.
collecting STDs and rare ethnics.
He doesn't default to like slurs. Instead, he'll talk about like skull shit. You'll hear him talking for like 30 minutes straight before you realize, wait a minute, I think this guy's like deeply racist.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
because
true.
he's been talking about like the geopolitical history and the phrenology of like certain skull shapes and all that shit. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh my God! Oh, one of those.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
But he's
nice.
not with hate. He's just what he just
It's
he
just my
yeah.
autistic interest. Yeah.
Yeah, he just talks about the things he
I
observes.
feel that.
At one time,
I
it
get
was
it.
I
Some
was
guys
really
like
stood
butterflies.
out.
Some guys like butterflies. Some guys like dinosaur bones. He likes racial ethnic skull
So,
shapes.
so
and-
what does your racial ethnic skull and knowledge tell you about Jew noses? Just have to ask.
Oh, I think they're beautiful. I love a large Semitic. I love a beaked up Jewess.
Yeah, he's into black
Also
chicks.
true.
He's into
Also,
like
yeah, I just
Jewis's-
large. I like large, unusual noses. So I'm very fond
He's
of
into
like
it, yep.
Jews and blacks because of like a big nose, a nose
Yep.
fetish.
His current girlfriend is black.
Nice.
Yeah, it's true.
Nice.
She's Zulu and Shona.
Yeah.
Oh wow. You know, I have
so
a
that's why he's
friend.
my favorite
That's
racist. 'Cause
that's
he's like-
Zimbabwe, by the
he's
way.
like, he's not the hateful kind of racist. He's like, I will fetishize the shit out of you. He's like, yeah, I notice all these like weird idiosyncrasies about your skull shapes and your nose and all that stuff, and
Amazing. Wow.
it just turns me on. Like I'm the sickest stiffy right now. I'm like, holy shit.
No thanks.
It's cool.
No,
No, I was trying to get my girlfriend. I was sending her pictures of traditional Zulu garbs for women, which is like a grass skirt, a bunch of beads, and their tits out, and saying you should wear this. It's legal to be topless in New York City. And she was just saying to me, absolutely fucking not.
She was holding. She like holds water containers.
Yeah,
on his
she
head,
does.
And he's like, "This is such a turn on for me."
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
She
you're
was
a sick
carrying-
fuck, dude.
I know,
Like-
seriously. I was walking with her,
You're
and she was
sick.
carrying her water bottle on
Amazing.
her head, and I was like,
Amazing.
"Wow, this is really cool." And she was, "You like this, white boy? Don't you, white boy?" I was like, "Yes, I do." And that's,
well, you know, that's the best thing when you two can just fuck around and be stupid with each other.
Racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like me and all my ex-girlfriends. We were
Yeah.
always like joking about racist shit. We would.
this is a wonderful thing about New York, by the way. New York, this is just so common, like nowhere else. Like
it's how we
Boston-
bond with each other.
Yeah, like in Boston, you can make an anodyne comment about black guys liking fat chicks, and in a group of, I mean, largely whites, because it's very white and progressive there. Everyone's like, "Wow, I
Oh,
don't." This is.
God.
What do you mean? That's what a bizarre thing to say. What an awful generalization.
Honestly, though, in relationships, it's more than that. It's anything taboo. You're just gonna fuck around with. Like I remember
Yeah,
I've had
that's
exes
true.
where it's like,
Intimacy.
like we would take it too far. You know, just joking around. It's like she would hit me. It's like, look what you made me do, and I would be like, stop gaslighting me. Some sick. Like other times it's just sweet. It's like playing house. You know.
I mean, that's kind in a way. Yeah, no, I definitely get that.
It's like, I'm gonna rape you. It's like, no, don't. And then I don't know. It's just some fucked up shit. Sometimes you joke around with your significant other.
It's like sometimes, you know, with Darren, I'll worry. It's like, am I going too far with the Chinese jokes and the Asian
Exactly,
jokes?
yeah,
but
yeah.
then I remember he's made like 50 times worse jokes about me being Jewish. So I'm like,
yeah.
okay, and he said to me, he's like, it's okay, you've racked up enough credit.
Well, no, you know what it is? It's the threshold is like when you're in a relationship and you guys like do the mutual trauma dumping, then it's like all bets are off. Then you're already in
Yes.
each other's secret lives.
It's
because
true,
everyone has
it's
three
true.
lives. There's the public facing life, there's the private facing life, which is just for your friends and family, and then there's the secret life. And once you're in someone's secret life, you ain't never gonna fucking leave. So like a lot of times when you're in a relationship with someone, you end up in each other's secret life like really quick. Not
It's
all the
true,
time, but
it's
most of
true.
the time you do. Because
And
like
you form
yeah.
like a closed circuit between both of your secret lives.
And
And one
then-
of the pains of a breakup is the death of that special relationship, which isn't even the same
Yep.
as you
That's
have
really
with
well
friends.
said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
Because it
it's-
is
yeah.
losing that
Totally.
like crazy connection. And yeah,
Whole
the
universe that dies.
and the secret life is like the most vulnerable place for a person. You know, like any person,
Yeah,
any
I
given
agree.
person. And it's like when you share that and you lose it, yeah, it's definitely traumatic.
It is. It's
But-
really
but yeah.
fucked up. No,
The
I
slippery
agree.
slope to that though, to that zone is trauma dumping. So like let's say you're a spy and you want to get in like a target secret life, start trauma dumping on them, and when they start trauma dumping on you, and then you're in. You know, like that's how you get in. But also if you're in a relationship, don't be surprised if you start like realizing like, wait a minute, now I'm stuck with this person because they know things about
Yeah.
me like literally nobody else knows. Like
It's like the mafia.
I mean, I've seen it before where it's like, oh, like you know, like poor couples, like, you know, the two meth heads in certain states that would get together and they would have the most dramatic relationship.
Yeah.
But then like the cops come and then they start saying some real fucked up shit. It's like, I'm gonna tell the fucking cops about the pregnant bitch you fucking stabbed, so we took her fucking money. I'm like, holy shit, like shut the fuck up, like,
Yes.
dude. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
Well, poor
boy.
people often have lives filled with drama. Honestly, it's often exciting to be poor.
Yo, have you ever
Depends on the kind of poor, but
Carmen, have you ever heard the saying like being poor is more expensive?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, totally.
It's way more expensive.
It
When you like
is.
consider like, because when you're poor, chances are you're not going to be able to buy your ingredients in bulk. Ever.
Exactly.
You're not going to be able to get supplies in bulk. That's how you get wholesale
You buy
prices.
cheaper things that often break down much faster. You'll save money if you spend more for a better quality
And-
item.
yeah,
better
and they
article
end
of
up being-
clothing, a better tool.
Yeah, and more per unit,
Yeah.
price per unit. Fucked up. Also,
Yeah.
like when you're you know, you could afford to like repair things if they break down, which will end up saving you more in the long run. Whereas when you can't, when you're poor, you just end up swapping out modular piece after modular piece of your life.
A lot of
Yeah.
poor people used to have actual skills, passed down from parent to child out of necessity.
Like my family cuts hair.
Yeah,
my family
exactly.
repairs cars.
Even something as like, everyone used to have some baseline competency with sewing or with cooking. So many poor people today, dysfunctional ones, are multiple generations of no one knowing how to cook, which is it makes perfect sense to me, but it's still astounding as someone who, my parents didn't really know how to cook. I taught myself how to cook when I was 12. Same thing with sewing, I taught myself.
Dude,
but
the only like family line skill that I know of that we have is hurting people.
yeah.
Like it's the only from my paternal line, really. It's like their main consistent ability was just hurting people optimally. It's kind of sad.
In my family, it's all music.
Maybe this
That's
is why I
our
try to get
skill.
good at things like music, because like I don't want to do that stuff. So I'm like, I gotta start getting good at like artistic shit. Now, but also it just made me happy to know that I understood how things come together, like a song, or like to me, it's not that different than putting a car together or a computer together. Like you see the pieces, you see the foundation, you see the framework, you see the format, even an essay. Or even something like a video essay, like
they're often less free flowing and pure creativity than people think. They're often very modular.
Yes, very modular, very very structured. Once I learned that about music, first of all, I didn't realize how significant that was when I figured out how structured music actually was. Because I thought it was just like you just had this crazy ability that just draw shit out of nowhere. But then like once I actually decided, you know what, let me try to write this kind of song. So I had to learn how like what's in a song. That you got the structure, you got the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and the most basic, like format. So once I learned that, I was like, oh, you could play around with it. Oh, and that's when theory started making sense. And that's when I started like differentiating like the rhythm versus the notation, like the pitch.
Totally.
And so I don't know. I could say now I wouldn't call myself a musician, but I would say I'm like a full-fledged music producer. I could put together a song by myself.
Yeah.
Like easily. But I respect like the craft that goes into being a quote unquote real musician. Like I know the pressure, like when you try to master a classical instrument, because first of all, you're not just like competing against every other musician of the same ilk as yourself, but you're also competing against yourself yesterday constantly. And like that is like an unwinnable battle. And that's what every classical musician is like constantly fucking subjected to. So I wouldn't call myself that. I use cheat codes with music, like I just put shit together. I'll sample, I'll use synthesizers, I'll use digital instruments, I'll sample other musicians playing for me. I'll do it all. It's like no holds barred. It's like mixed martial arts versus kung fu.
You made an interesting point about music being modular, which is that I'm a visual artist, but I'm getting into composing music now.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting for me to go from something like drawing or painting to composing. And I think one of the big differences is how modular music is in comparison to something like drawing or painting, because drawing or painting, it's kind of, in my mind, I see it as the difference between a continuous versus a discrete form of expression, if that makes sense. Because I feel kind of like playing drawing or painting, like you can make an infinite amount of different kinds of lines or marks. They're like snowflakes. No two marks will be the same, and you're just going to keep expressing the same continuous lines. Whereas music, it's discrete, it's modular. You're taking the same 12 units and you're repeating them and combining them and discovering as many permutations as you can over and over. It's almost like working with pixels in a way. So that's one thing that really fascinates me about transitioning from visual art to music is, in a way, it's like learning a different medium to work with for expression.
Since you say visually, but also you could call it spatially, right? So I'll say this,
Yeah.
right? Have you ever heard this quote that music is liquid architecture? Architecture is just solid music.
I feel like we maybe talked about this.
Yeah.
I think we did, but remind
Richard,
me
can
again.
you look that quote up? Music is liquid architecture. I want to know who said that quote.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I want to know too.
Richie, pull that up.
Jarvis, pull it. Oh, I can't say this. I keep saying. I know what I want to say, but I'm not going to say it. Music is solid architecture. The quote is by Jordan Wolfgang von Goethe.
Goethe. Well, I'm not quite saying it, but wait, you could say it. You could say it.
Goethe.
Goethe.
So it's Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Von Goethe. I want to see a picture of this guy. Oh, nice.
So can you elaborate a bit more on what that quote means?
Okay, so I mean, we could look it up, but in my opinion, before we even look up like the actual like Wikipedia interpretation, I think what it means is if you look at like an architectural structure, right? What is it really? It's like energy flows. It's a structure where energy flows in and out. It's not even like you could call it, oh, it's an office building, it's a home, it's a this, it's a hospital, it's a school, it's a this or that. Really, what it's a structure where human energy flows in, and then in turn it flows out. So if you could facilitate a flow of, it's basically you're creating a breathing thing. Same thing if you look at a structure like a car. Energy goes in, material goes in, cars, combustible fuel, exhaust comes out. So same thing with like music, except music is weird in that it's fluid and it's not really tangible in a sense where it's a solid object you could hold with your hands. You kind of have
When
to
you're
use
dancing, you're moving in music like you're moving
through the
in a
structure of it.
building.
This is
Yeah.
true. This is true.
Or
So it's more of
frankly,
a,
just living and listening to music, you're moving through it.
yeah, like solid is more
True.
tangible, liquid is more abstract. So it's a more abstract. You're using your abstract senses to engage with this kind of structure, not like
For
your
sure.
more material senses to engage with something like a house. To touching like the brick wall of a house or something. So yeah, this is what I think he meant when he says like music is liquid architecture, architecture is frozen music.
I agree with that. It's
It's very
true.
it's
And-
cool. It's good.
And
I
it,
like
and it, I mean, we were also discussing how it vibrates the liquid in your body in a way that kind of also adds meaning to the liquid architecture thing.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of crazy shit like overlap between like honestly matter and sound because everything. First of all, like when we look at solid objects and we think it's like a solid object, that's actually an illusion, right? Everything's moving. Everything is just vibrating on an atomic level. Like if anything, 90% of this is empty space. It's just the space between the atoms is actually a lot bigger than we think. We think atoms as these like bigger things, but no, it's mostly energy. It's mostly just like literally frozen light. And that's really what it is, right? It's the crazy spectrum between. I think solid matter is like the the intersection of light and sound. When light and sound intersects in the correct way energetically, you get solids, you get solid manifestation, you get atoms, you get tangible matter,
Light and sound feels like the intersection of the two things that I do.
There you go. I mean, that's why it's such a holy thing. And did you know who was given this kind of, who gave us this insight originally? It wasn't some fucking hippies like ancient shamans. No, it was the religious institutions. It was the church. It was the Abrahamic institutions. It was the people before the church, like King David's descendants and so on and so forth. Like this is all comes from a direct lineage of our understanding. So in a way, I say like. People try to divorce science from theology. I say you would never have science without theology.
So, do any of these theological institutions have anything to say about stuff like synesthesia, for instance? Because I've got
what they
sound
say?
and visual synesthesia. I could go on and on about that too.
They would
Hey,
say
that's
I have really specific colors that align with specific pitches in my mind.
well,
and
the church would probably tell you you're given a divine blessing. That they would probably tell you that you're given a gift from God.
That's how
to be
it
able to
feels.
control certain elements that are heavenly and divine that us mere mortals aren't capable of seeing usually.
Did you always have synesthesia, or was it something
Always.
you cultivated? Okay.
always, for as long as I can remember.
Always at the same level of intensity or degree?
Always, no, always.
Okay, interesting.
I've been using it to compose recently. I'll literally just sit there and think, okay, which pitches, look beautiful in my mind, and what color palettes do they form? And I've been experimenting. That's why I got into composition, because I realized this is kind of rare, so I decided to try and work with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think for me it was synesthesia. I think I have a very reverse structured mind, like where I would look at something and immediately I would break it down to the sum of its parts. Like if something interests me, it's because like I think this works subconsciously because I'm not sitting there looking at everything like, oh, how does this work and that work? I think my subconscious just does it naturally. So when I find something interesting, it's because my subconscious breaks down the sum of its parts immediately, like faster than my rational mind could even do it. And then it's like if I see the sum of its parts, like my subconscious sees it as interesting. It's like, look at all these parts that are like that make up this thing. It looks small or it could look complicated and large, but if the sum is if like different pieces like just seem interesting to my subconscious, I immediately become obsessed with it until I understand it like in its totality. Whether it's a piece of machinery, whether it's an instrument, whether it's an ideal or an idea like a philosophy, or whether it's a discipline like some martial art, like I see the structure in it. Even a song, like I could like break down a song. I'm like, all right, this is what the drums are doing. This is what the low end is doing. this is what this synth is doing. And every once in a while, if I'm lucky, I'll hear a sound in it where I'm like, how the fuck did they make that?
So
You know, I'll see it modulate. I'll hear it modulate in a way in isolation. I'm like, that's crazy. How did they do that?
So you look at everything in kind of a modular way. That's like your mode of interacting with things you're interested in.
I suppose, and that's how it works for like art and music.
That's really interesting.
Because even
You
in
break
art,
them down, you find a system to it, or learn the system.
I mean,
to
but
it.
this applies to everything.
Yeah, it does. In
yeah.
like physical tasks,
even in art, they
That's
call
mad
it
interesting.
composition. In writing, they call it a format and composition.
a lot of physical
Totally.
technique is that for motions of the body.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Then-
want to go meta, if you want to put a label to what we're really talking about, it's design, principles of design, like design expanding beyond just one thing. Like if you just know universal design principles, and honestly, if you want me to like, I don't know if you guys know this, but the best way to create your own principles for design is to create a matrix. You know what a matrix is? So you create a box, an X and Y axis. Along the Y axis, going down, you create a set of criteria. And then along the horizontal, you create like a range of how well they fill this criteria, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. So you basically, it's really easy to just make a list of what you think is important in something that you're designing. And then horizontal, you create a ranking system. And then you create something, and then you check the boxes in your own matrix and see where it grades. That's how you create a matrix. And that's how design, professional design, a structure, very structured, like civic kind of design, that's how they do it. They create a matrix, and then they see how well their output fills that matrix, fills that criteria. Interesting shit, right?
Yeah, no, I'm curious to hear more. So,
Okay, so I learned this.
like,
because-
can you give an example of this matrix or an applied
sure.
version?
So I just want to say, first and foremost, I only learned this because I was bored because I work from home now. So I took a design course on Udemy.
Oh, word.
And so the what I took was graphic design. And in this
Nice.
course, they said that, you know, basically what you're learning is the criteria to judge good design. How do I judge good design? Like when I look at a poster, how do I know this is designed well? So they give you a set of criteria, and they tell you explicitly, this is just an example, but you could use this professionally because most magazines, fashion companies, whatever, IKEA, this is the same criteria they would use. And,
Totally.
and they would tell you like first,
Except IKEA uses Verdana.
yeah. So they
Don't trust them.
So yeah, you create your matrix, and the things you would see is like context, audience engagement, contrast, dynamics, you know, like dynamism in the design. Basically, I think like even if it's music or graphic design, what they're basically telling you is how well does your piece direct their attention to tell what it is that you're trying to tell them, you know. And this expands to anything from like something like catchy like pop art or like Art Deco style, or it could be something more contemporary, modern, more minimalist. I personally like minimalism a lot. And you know, honestly, this like led me down like rabbit holes for design, like when it comes to font, like
Ooh.
sans serif and shit like that.
Yeah.
And, like,
Tell me.
'cause these-
I love typography.
these things change our perception of how we take in information in a
Yeah.
very deep and
Totally.
in a
Totally.
very deep way that we don't usually consider.
Yes, you know, as a designer, I just have to say, and I'm not just a graphic designer, I'm a UI UX designer, so I'm really well aware of how, like, one really common misconception about design is it's just there, you know, people think it's just there to make something look pretty.
No,
but it's also
it
there to make
affects you
something usable.
psychologically. Yeah.
It affects the entire experience. And I mean, I know I'm especially aware of this because I design apps. But it applies everywhere, yeah. In posters, as you were saying, in books, you
Yep.
know how people the typography,
Essays, articles, magazine articles.
Yes, yes. I mean, just something like the size of the font or the color or
if you run a
can
business-
affect readability.
If you run a
It's
business,
all
like-
about
yeah.
accessibility.
If you
There-
run
you
like
know,
a-
did you know that there are fonts designed for dyslexic people? There's some like some
that's
fonts
pretty
are
cool.
better for dyslexic people.
Do you have a list of favorite fonts? Either a
Oh,
range.
boy. My favorite
or
is
actually just tell me
Times
some
New
of,
Roman.
Tell me
Times New
just some
Roman
of
is
your
my
favorite
shit.
fonts.
Oh God,
Times New Roman. I love Times
There are a
New Roman.
lot. Why do you like Times New Roman?
I think it's just classy, and you know that extra line. What they call it the serif, right?
Yes.
That little extra line.
Yes.
That- otherwise, it would just be Arial or something.
Not gonna
Arial. You know
Not
the
gonna
font.
lie, I think Times New Roman is so cheap, and they're way better serif fonts.
Yes.
All right,
than
you know what
that.
else I like?
That's like Microsoft.
I'm a
BS.
By the way,
psycho
type-
because I like Courier.
Oh man, you like all the cheap, shitty Microsoft
Yeah,
fonts.
that's honestly that's very.
Wow.
You know what? You could judge me.
I'm
I'll
not
let you judge the
surprised
shit
by.
out of
I'm not surprised by any of
I'm a
that.
designer. I get paid to judge
Okay.
this shit.
You know what? Fine. I like Comic
I
Sans.
earn mad
My favorite
fucking money
font-
to judge this shit.
Yo, make my shit Comic Sans. That's
That's
the only
great.
thing I want.
That's
I
a-
just want
that's a
Comic
good
Sans.
font.
Did you know when I was 10 years old, I loved
Wingdings.
Comic Sans?
Papyrus.
I think it's actually
Papyrus.
It's unreadable.
Comic Sans. Wait, hold on. Comic Sans.
I love how this MF came in just to talk about Papyrus.
Papyrus.
Sitting quiet the whole time until now.
I found a great font called Barbarian, where every single letter has a sword running through
Yo.
it.
Nice.
Like on the poster for Conan the Barbarian.
Love it.
Or
The terror-
Old
all right.
English.
First of all, I want to say I made the Terrorist logo with the font. I chose it. It's called Road Rage. It's the cyberpunk font.
Yeah.
It looks like Road Rage.
It's called Road Rage.
Oh, interesting tidbit about the typeface called chalk. Do you
Yeah.
guys know that stereotypical like Asian looking font that you see on sushi restaurants?
Yeah.
It looks kind of hand drawn.
Yeah.
That typeface has a whole history behind it. It wasn't created to be like an Asian restaurant font or anything. I think it was created by a French guy, and then it just permeated through all of New York City and became like the New York Times did a whole article about
Some
this
Chinese guy,
font.
like, what font do we use?
Yes.
Oh, that one. That one look good.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That makes
seriously. No, look it up. The New York Times did an entire article about chalk. CHOC.
It seems like with Comic Sans, you have these kind of decently designed, little bit novelty, not too novel. Tell me if any of this bullshit. I'm just like freeballing.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Fonts that got overused and became memes or jokes or seen as very tacky.
Impact?
I agree.
Yeah, like Comic Sans, if it was not overused in a period of time, could have just been like a cute, occasionally used font. Same thing with Papyrus, your chalk. But overuse of them turned them into
Tacky.
tacky, especially once it became like what
I like
the
Calibri.
second someone
Calibri
had
is
yeah
good.
What?
calligraphy.
Calibri.
Oh, Calibri. All
I
right,
think
Calibri.
Calibri or something.
It's
C-A-L-I.
a serif font, right? I forgot how it even looks. But yeah, no, I agree with some of that. I think there's something to that for sure.
I don't know if this is true. I'm not a typologist.
No,
A
there's something
fontist.
to that.
Arial. Wait, I gotta ask. Do you like Arial?
Oh my god, shut up. Not really. I like
Do you like Arial
Helvetica.
Narrow?
Helvetica is much better. No, Arial is the poor man's it's Microsoft's version of Helvetica, and fuck Microsoft.
You know
I
that-
hate them.
Did you know that? All right, so there was a guy that was responsible for the sans serif type the font family, because apparently he was the guy that said he wrote this whole thesis about how the serif is just distracting to attention. It's just not good for taking in information, and that's what standardized the sans serif fonts within like the font foundry. There's a foundry for this shit.
Yeah.
Like a foundry for fonts, and apparently the
There
guy,
is.
but like years later, decades later, the guy apparently in his old age took it back. He was like, I was wrong.
He is fucking wrong.
I was wrong. The serif is actually good.
He's
It's really
yeah, what a
tiresome
moron.
How every corporate logo is a sans serif one. In Impact, I don't know typology.
I know what you mean though.
But
No.
my first girlfriend was a typology autist. So it seems like a
Nice.
particularly common
You know what I think?
form of
all right,
female autism.
So you know how I think you get a lot of like amateur typography nuts. It's when you're a web designer. Because when you're a web designer, you become really sensitive and actually hypersensitive to things like design principles. Because you're like, all right, this is my opening landing page. I want this to be
Yes.
here. And if as soon as they open the page, and if it takes X amount,
Relate. I relate.
If it takes X amount of steps to get to the content, then I'm doing something wrong. I have to rearrange it, and that's all design principle, and that's
It
all.
is.
A lot of it has to
It
do with font and
is.
arrangement and typography.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then what that guy was saying about serifs is he's a fucking moron, because serifs have a specific purpose. They're there for readability, because the lines kind of help your eyes flow from one letter to the next.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, every typeface is designed for a specific purpose. You know, some are designed to be more readable in books, and some are for the web. Like Verdana, the whole I hate Verdana. It's ugly as sin. But it had a very specific purpose. It was designed by a guy who wanted to make a typeface that would be easier to read on small resolution screens. Because, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that was more of a common thing. And I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but Verdana is just a bigger font than most fonts.
Yeah.
It has a larger X height, I think. Don't quote me on this. That might not be the right term, but
it took off in the 90s, right? It's
yeah,
interesting. You can
so that's what it
see
was designed for.
the history. You can see the genealogy of fonts or what is popular.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your favorite fonts, though, Ariel, as an actual?
Oh my
type
god,
head?
jeez, there are
Type
too
head.
many.
They're real type one.
That's
type
like
head.
that's like asking me to choose my favorite Beatles song.
You don't have to choose exactly one.
I don't
Just
know.
list some you are really fond of.
Shouts out, honorary
It doesn't have to.
mentions.
It's not a ranked list. I'm not expecting.
I mean, off the top of my head, honestly, I've kind of a soft spot for a lot of the Bauhaus type fonts. Like Futura and Brandon Grotesque. I feel like I keep going
Could you
back
bring,
to those.
Bring those up, Richie.
Like I don't know if
Futura font.
like I don't know if that's my favorite, but off the top of my
I'm not
head,
saying- I'm not asking.
off
for
the top
that.
of my head,
I'm
that's
not
one I
asking
really
for that.
like.
First of all, this is some high quality discussion content. All right, we're talking about like real.
No, but I
Yeah,
like
this is a lot more
No, but
engaging than
honestly,
visual
if I were really to think about it, there
that's
are a
good.
lot of different.
Has a nice Art Deco quality to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that Art Deco feeling. That's
I feel like
Yeah, or Bauhaus.
It's
Yeah.
legible.
yeah.
I'm looking at this and
It's accessible.
I'm suddenly thinking about how Ayn Rand had a lot of good ideas when I read this font.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. It really
It's
it really
smooth.
depends,
It feels
you know?
it's bold. It's large, but it doesn't.
All right.
It doesn't feel painful on my eyes or choppy.
What about
But
fonts?
but
that
like
are-
for example, no. But really, honestly, I care so much about like. In order to really thoroughly, conscientiously answer this question, I'd have to go case by case. It's like, I love Futura, but I wouldn't use it as a body typeface, for example. In my mind, that's more of a heading typeface. But
Okay.
like a body typeface, I mean, recently I've been using Proxima Nova on my websites. That's a nice
No,
one.
I want to hear all the details about
Universe
what you're
is a
looking for
nice
in different
one.
fonts.
yeah,
I know Helvetica gets a
filling
bad
time. We're
rep,
filling
but
time.
You know what?
I
Like,
think
learning about-
Helvetica, I know Helvetica gets a bad rep, but I mean, I think it works well for the subway. It really is case by case. That's the whole thing with typefaces is you can't just pick your favorite font and then use it on everything. Because it'll look like dog shit on a lot of
Like
stuff.
the-
You gotta consider the case in which you're using
the most
it.
basic thing is like use the heading as a sans serif type font, and then you can
No,
make
it
the body like
depends.
use the serif, or you don't have to.
Not always.
I'm just saying,
It
like
varies.
this is what I'm saying. Like the most basic principle of design is contrast. Give some kind of contrast. It could
Yes,
be color. It could be
this is
different font
true.
types. It could be size.
This is all true. A lot of it is also just intuition. Like
Yeah.
you just gotta study stuff
If you have
and
good
you gotta
taste, you have good taste.
you
yeah.
gotta internalize patterns around you and really study things visually, and after a while you begin to develop an instinct for what feels right and what doesn't. So much of my job is just this doesn't feel right, and usually I'll trust the feeling, and then usually it's like, well, there's a reason why.
Damn, I'm afraid to show you the Terrorisk website. You're gonna be like, this sucks, dude. And I'll be like, yeah.
Proxima? What was the
Proxima Nova.
Fuck your
Yes,
Bluehost
that's what I
generated
thought
website.
you were looking at. Yeah, Proxima Nova.
No, but regarding your comment about the Terrorisk site, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes tacky design also has its place, honestly.
It's still a work in progress.
Like sometimes, like I also have a soft spot for that old GeoCities style
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah,
like I
because
love
because
this.
it works. It
Yeah,
fucking works.
and you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I love the Craigslist website because it's just so minimal. But it's
So Web 1.0. Do you
yeah.
like
Message
4chan
boards.
and other image boards?
I like
Yeah.
message boards better than image
Yeah.
boards because message boards have more functionality.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why the Craigslist design stayed the way it is. Why it's never been changed. It just
let's think
works.
before computers, like
Also the
like
people
in
using it, but,
remember in Greek society with like town squares where they had bulletin boards and you could put up like parchment. That's kind of what I think of this is like a manifestation of, like a more modern iteration of when we go to like internet bulletin boards, essentially like on Facebook or Twitter. It's the global town square on a digital level.
Well, we used to
It
have a lot of
is.
message boards, and they mostly have died off.
Well,
to
because
be
there has to be
absorbed
one.
by.
There has to be one.
Yes, but I don't know. There is so much specialized knowledge so readily available previously that has now moved to Discord.
You know what it means? It means the world is getting smaller.
Yeah, it really has. I mean,
I don't mind a smaller world because the universe is infinitely mind-bogglingly large. So a smaller world is insignificant to me, honestly.
Well, I will say I'm way more interested in real life ever since the internet became less interesting. But of course, there's also a difference of age.
And you moved to New York?
And I moved to New York. But, you know, even if I was still living in Boston, I would be far more engaged in real life than stayed in Boston. I would still be far more engaged in real life than on the internet just because, I mean, it's not as appealing as it once was. But I was also younger.
What was the most evil?
Shire.
What was the most evil thing you saw in Boston?
Like, barely anything in terms of crime happened. It was just a very
Social.
big, small town. So many people I knew were canceled around
fuck
that era
that.
over really silly, stupid things. It was also just the broader era I know in many places, but I mean, it's not like grand evil. It's not like I watched someone be stabbed to death.
I did.
But I know, exactly.
Jesus.
The worst I saw was just
But I don't think that was
various kinds-
evil. I think that was more retarded.
yeah. I saw a lot of social evil, or I don't know,
Yeah,
it might
that's
even be
evil. You're right. You're right. When you don't feel you have to stab someone to resolve something, but you still do harm anyway.
I mean, some
that
of it
is
was
more
just
evil.
stupid, but just so many things I saw around needless social backbiting. I remember, I don't know, these are ultimately petty things, but it's still things that derail someone's life for a period of time. Sometimes they never get over it, particularly if they get too stuck on it. It's very easy to do, even if it's a petty thing. I mean, like, I remember this guy who was a manager at, there was an art gallery. There was a fun space called Out of the Blue. It was run by this owned by this boomer asset casualty who had like money from a lawsuit settlement, and he just funneled it into his non-productive, financially viable little art space. And he had a pretty bipolar, fairly disturbed guy who could hold it together, especially on medication. But you know, either way, he couldn't hold down a real job. But he's actually very good at being manager of the space. And he was like 30, and he had hit on a musician that was performing there who was 18.
Oh, not
and she was really uncomfortable, and then being very sweet. I barely knew the guy, but he was like very sweet about it, and like he definitely like tried to apologize in a way that made her more uncomfortable. And this is around 2015 or so. And there was we got to get rid of the sex monster manager at this
Jesus.
place.
That's evil.
And like everyone was dragging him and talking about an awful person. I barely knew him. I was like, this is retarded. Like, okay, he hit on a younger woman. She's still in this adult space where people are drinking, and he's not that much older. He was in a manic episode, and he thought he had a chance with this girl. And it's not like he cornered her. I mean, he just like said to her, "Oh, I'd really like to go out with you." And she's like, "No." And then later he's like, I'm so sorry. So I know him. He would do something, probably made it much more awkward than it should have been. But he lost his manager job. He got like socially shunned. And you know, it's a small thing, but I was like, what an awful thing to happen.
So he
to a
hit on
guy.
her
That's
knowing
really
it was wrong,
sad.
though. Otherwise, he wouldn't have apologized. He would have been like, "Why? What did I
No,
do?"
he apologized because she was upset or bothered by
She
him.
was.
She was like, I don't know, I wasn't there, but it was something like that. And I was like, okay, this is just an awkward flirtation that went nowhere. Nothing actually happened.
Yeah.
It was only because of that event that I had Sam Hyde at my house.
Oh.
Whoa.
Because Sam Hyde was going to perform there because he was at Boston for a period of time and previously performed at the space. And this was right when Trump had just won in 2016. No, this happened in 2016, excuse me. And the owner of the gallery, as I said, is a boomer acid casualty. He had no idea what was going on. He was always he was anxious having to book events as opposed to just smoking weed and letting the manager TJ just do all the actual work. So he had canned Sam's show, and this is right after a $1 million Extreme had gotten canned. So I was able to get in touch with him and have Sam play at my house, which was my great claim to fame. But I don't know. Things like that.
You're
I have
better
many.
than that, man.
That's
You're
true. I
better
am.
than that.
I saw many events like that in Boston happen.
That's so sad.
But everyone I talk to in New York, a lot of people have moved from some other city, and some story that's sad, not majorly sad, because unless someone like committed suicide, which could happen. I didn't see any of that, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal if someone is randomly ostracized for a stupid reason.
Man,
but
you
it's
saw
still
this baby
painful
shit.
and awful.
It still fucking sucks.
Yeah, there's no reason for it to have happened. It was just happening everywhere at the time.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
The truth
No,
is,
I
now
really-
that
It's
really-
like it's
Carmen,
stupid and small, but it's still like a painful, ugly thing.
Carmen,
that
now that you're living in
Like,
New
I
York
just-
City, you're gonna see
yeah.
way worse things.
Mhm.
Probably, you're gonna see way worse shit.
I mean, also
And your
it's just
heart's
here.
gonna turn into stone, and it's gonna be and you're gonna be a badass wearing a leather jacket.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm a lot colder to homeless now, and now it's very easy for me to balance
Good.
people.
Good.
You know, I've been living here all my life, and I still get really depressed when I see homeless people. I was walking through Midtown the other night, and it really and it was like almost a shanty town. Like it was just one street of homeless people sleeping after another, because it was the middle of the night. It was just street after street full of people sleeping on the street, and it's in Midtown, so I was surrounded by all this opulence, and it just depressed the shit out of me.
Also, they're
I was
huge
like,
assholes.
and you could smell that, like you could smell the shit and piss in
Honestly,
every street, and I was
you
like,
guys-
Jesus. Like I grew up in New York. I don't remember New York always being like
Yo,
that.
can I be honest?
It's gotten mad fucked up.
I disagree because like
Whoa.
I don't feel like, dude. I think New York is like fucking Disney World now because.
It is, but
When
it's
I was-
also this.
Because like,
That's what makes it so horrible.
I remember old New York where it was a lot worse, where it was fucked up.
Me
Where people
too.
like us
Me
could not
too.
just walk around
I remember it
Brooklyn
too.
and Bushwick, so that wasn't cool, right?
Yeah, no, I agree
All
with
I'm
you.
saying is like, yeah, things could be better, but it's definitely not as bad as it was. It
But
was
what-
a lot. Fucking
what we're
worse.
both saying is true. That's part of what makes it so bad. Is it's
Interesting. Honestly,
Disney, it's Disneyland, but also you have all these fucking homeless people lying in the street. That's
what I think?
exactly what makes it
I
so
think the
dystopian.
damage, like the damage, is less external with like living in New York City. Like it's less like people doing external damage and more people doing internal damage, like inward.
Yeah, that
self-directed
feels
damage,
pretty
you know?
solid. A lot of the homeless you know, when I was a boy or a teen, most of the homeless, and I was in Boston, so a very different place. Most of the homeless were drunk old guys, and you could give them $1, and usually they weren't too big of an asshole. You could sit and have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
It's like the
Not-
mayor and do the right thing.
None of the bums are like that now. Now they're all like bums suck nowadays
they're
compared to
feral.
how they used to be. Like I feel bad for them still because I'm a huge pussy, but at the same time it's like, well, I have no temptation to give this guy money because he's just gonna like he's just gonna go at me as opposed to saying thanks man, which is what I used to get from bums.
No, I feel
Yeah. Like
I feel
that's what I
that.
get from homeless now. It's like, well, fuck you, man, if you're not gonna speak coherent English. I
It's like
don't
a
know if
white-
you're demon possessed or not, but if you're talking in tongues, I don't want to give you any money.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I feel
I get my
that.
money like white
Yeah.
homeless only.
So
honestly.
speaking of evil, if Darren
Rich,
and
you
I,
want to go into the camera and then say again how you only give money to white homeless?
Richie,
What
all right.
the fuck?
Like you're white homeless, you know, you're doing really bad.
The
Oh,
only-
you're fucked,
all right,
man.
Richie, our black person teammate, only gives money to the white homeless people.
I've got plastic friends. Like, oh, thanks, dude. Oh, have a good day. You too, bro. Dude,
Every time Richie gives money to black people, they always talk shit about his shoes.
they don't want to
his
fuck off.
t-shirt.
Yeah,
They're gonna be an asshole, like, dude.
yeah,
The fuck you trying to say, bro?
yeah.
It's like Asian people. It's
Oh,
like they'll take money
God.
from white people, but
Oh no.
Bro, it's not
Money
my
from
fault.
black people all the time in the liquor stores and the Chinese restaurants in the ghetto.
no. Asians don't want your money. They want your cans so they can make their own money.
This is
They
true.
want your fucking waste so that they could turn that into gold.
This is true. I usually only ever see Asian people going through the trash cans collecting the
Because
bottles.
they're too good to ask for
That's
money.
true.
They're too good to
This is-
panhandle. They're only good enough to work.
You know, I heard that they have a special bus that they take
Dude, they have-
to
they have whole-
to
they
go
have-
get money for these bottles.
They have a whole mafias of
That's
like
fucking
territory.
insane.
Like if you yourself as an individual try to
fucking
go try to go
mental.
anywhere in Brooklyn to
Oh
start
my
collecting
God.
cans to
Oh,
make a
no.
living, dude,
Oh.
some Chinese lady will
Oh
call
my
her son, who
God.
call the community.
Suddenly you'll get like a swarm of fobs
Yeah,
around
like-
you.
Yeah, with like their own shopping carts full of fucking cans. They're like, no, you gotta get the fuck out of our turf, bro. Find somewhere else. You can't do that shit here. As you can see, we're all
Oh my
fucked
God.
up. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we'll kill you. Like, this is I feed my kids this way.
No.
Oh my God.
This is why Asian pornography is so breast heavy. It's
Yep.
because they're focused on the cans.
Precisely.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. So I was saying before, if Darren and I end up drafted together in the same
Shit.
unit, I'll take care of him. I'll look after him. That's like every war movie where he dies and I have to come back home. It's like, I'm sorry, your husband's dead. It's like,
Oh no.
that's a sad war movie where it starts off with like the main character who should be alive but he's dead.
No.
That's what we're headed to, a sad war movie.
Not my baby.
I just hope I'm with Carmen and Richie. You know, I'm like, best job ever, bro. You know, we'd be in like the Middle East. I'd be like, yo, Richie, that girl would fuck you for a candy bar, and he'd be like, no, she would not, and I'd be like, she would, bro. Want to bet?
Her father would sell her to you for a candy bar. Well, not to you,
True,
Richie,
yeah.
Be like World War II all over. It's World War III, baby.
but unfortunately, yeah.
But yeah, I think the thing that makes the cancel culture so pernicious is the mob mentality of it all. And I have to say, I have a really, really deep-seated fear of mob mentality, and I think it's generational trauma related.
Pogroms.
Communists and communists.
Yes, and Nazis, and
Yep.
because I've seen, you know, what can happen, and it's happening again now, and like people just they hear one thing, and you know, they have no context, or they or it gets misinterpreted or blown out of proportion or whatever, and
All
suddenly
right.
you have an angry
I
mob
see why
killing
you tolerate
people.
me because by
Yeah.
nature I am like
Yeah.
anti-mob mentality.
That's why I
To
fucking
a-
love you,
to a
man.
fault.
Yeah.
to a
That's
Your
why
fault.
we're friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
to
your
a
mother
fault.
Ostjuden? Is your mother Russian Jewish?
They're from like all over Eastern Europe. You know how it is with the Jews.
No, but I mean, were
it's
they
like running from one
Americans?
place to another before they get killed.
No, I understand. But were they? I should also say, are they American or Russian Israelis? Or went to? Or originally
So
from-
my mom's family came from, you know, all over Eastern. They were in Poland and Russia and Ukraine, and then they came to America during the big immigration wave around the turn of the century. So my grandparents were born and raised in New York City. First
Okay,
generation
okay.
Americans.
Yeah,
Crazy.
first generation Ostjuden. Okay, gotcha.
And my grandparents were in Iraq.
Five types.
And they fled during massive pogrom.
I heard Iraq was good back then.
48.
ethnic cleansing.
I heard before that happened, Iraq was cool.
Yeah, that's what I hear too. It was
It was
fun.
groovy.
I mean,
My grandmother in
Smoking hookah.
Israel, she talks about how much she loved living in Iraq, and it was really beautiful. And,
I heard the best part
yeah.
about being Israeli is going to India and coming back with like all
a
the
lot of Israelis do that after the army.
all the knowledge and wisdom you gain.
Oh.
It's like, listen, here's what I learned. You're like Jesus. You
Oh,
know,
you
like-
want to hear? I heard from my Indian friends in Berlin. So there's a town in northern India in the state of Himachal Pradesh. It's called Kasol, and it's been nicknamed Little Israel because of all the Israelis who go there, and you know they fuck off
shit.
there after the army, and they grow hashish there, and they grow weed. So they all go and they just spend the whole
You know
time
what?
getting high
I
because
don't mean to
Israelis love
interject, but
weed.
real quick-
And there's Hebrew everywhere.
Real
Yeah.
quick, that's no different than like a U.S. Marine getting up land down south and just to grow some weed and shit.
I mean, why not? Life is too fucking short. Just enjoy yourself.
So anyway, what else do you know about the
Himachal
IDF?
Kasol or
Well, the IDF in general. Are they? Like, what do they want to do?
Can we talk about something? Can we talk about Israel in a way that isn't related to the war? Because
Sure.
I
Yeah, sure.
fucking.
Well, I'm not asking
Okay,
about the
here's
war.
a
Because
I'm
I
asking about-
fucking really miss. I really wish I could just talk about my home country like a
So
normal
let me
person.
Okay, let me ask you this: why do Israelis like EDM, and why do they like the EDM they do?
European.
Like, explain
That's
this.
Eurotrash mentality.
What's your theory about why they like?
That's Eurotrash.
That's a good question. You know, I don't know
Because
actually.
they're European. All the Israelis are European. Europeans.
they're-
love
No, they're
that
not.
EDM.
No, they're
Oh.
not. My dad's family isn't European.
well, half of them are from the Middle East.
Dude, Putin himself
they're
said, like-
Chinese Jews. They're Ethiopian
Yeah, I
Jews.
know, of course. But you know how many
They're
of them are
Eritrean
Russian and
Jews.
Polish and fucking all the
Jews
satellites
are
over the country?
diasporic people. We're from all over.
100%. They're the
Yeah.
most diasporic people in the world.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
can look like anything.
Exactly. That's why they're
They're Nigerian Jews. They're
Igbo.
Igbo Jews. They're
wow.
They're Indian Jews from Kerala.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
most
true.
of forgive me to be pretentious here. I mean, when we're talking
That's
about
okay.
the African Jewish population, we're referring usually to Beta Israel and Ethiopia.
Yeah, Ethiopia,
Or the
yeah.
Lumba people of like Zimbabwe, which have like distant, like it's like
Oh.
literally is a lost tribe situation.
I didn't know about that
It's something
actually.
like that where they
Oh,
have
wow.
very distant paternal Middle Eastern ancestry. But in every other way, they blend in.
Nice.
Well, their religious practice is very vaguely Jewish.
Oh wow, this is my first time hearing about Jews in Zimbabwe.
Or something, somewhere in the
That's really
southeast
cool.
coast.
Nice.
It's very much. It sounds like a 19th century racial theory, which is why it's true.
Well-
where they got some Jewish merchants just went down hunting for black pussy
Yeah,
and just founded a tribe
Well, to
down
be honest,
there.
out of all of us here, I probably have the most in common with Jews. I think South Korea is like the Israel of East Asia.
How come?
Well, I mean, think about it. Like every South Korean citizen has to be conscripted into the military. They live right next door to neighbors who want to
yeah.
fucking wipe them out. It's the same shit.
Oh,
But then again, you could
jeez,
say
yeah.
that about
Unlike-
anything with South Korea. You know, South Korea.
Yeah,
like,
South Korea is the skeleton key of races of Asia.
Yeah, you could be like they're this blank of blank, and
The
it's-
blacks of Asia because of the fried chicken.
Yeah.
They're the Jews of Asia
'Cause of the money and
money.
yeah.
They're the Italians of Asia because they're gangsters in all these other countries in Asia.
They're the Albanians of Asia because they like to drink and fight all the time.
You know,
They're retarded.
women
I
are
feel like
pretty
I always
bananas
end up
ugly.
joking with my Chinese friends about the Jewish-Chinese alliance because I feel like we always Chinese and Jewish people we always end up becoming friends
Oh,
and
yeah,
dating.
friends, let's be real.
You know,
And
the
then-
world is gonna be like literally taken over by
Chinese and Jews.
Chinese Jewish
Chinese
hoppers,
Jews.
And then I
straight
met
up.
a woman in the airport. She was a Chinese woman, and she was going on about how she loves the Jews and the Chinese are the lost tribe of Israel, and it's a thing.
No, it's
definitely
very
a
strong.
thing.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
common for white guys who marry Chinese women. Their parents will be mad if he's not Jewish. They'll say like, "You married a white man, but he's not a Jew. What's wrong with you?"
I mean, look at me. I'm fulfilling the stereotype too.
Yeah.
What's Darren's mother's ethnicity?
French, Canadian, Irish. They were in Quebec for a really long time.
Okay, French
I hate
Canadian
like-
Catholic. Interesting. Yeah.
You hate Quebec?
I don't like Quebec. Not my favorite
Oh.
part of Canada.
Well, when he gets here, you can rant at him about how much you don't like Quebec.
Don't tell him that. I don't want to
Oh,
tell
he's
him.
calling me now.
He's probably here.
He's probably here.
Yeah.
Richie, would you be able to grab Darren?
Yeah, sure.
Thank
Hey,
you.
downstairs?
You know where the lobby is from here, right?
Richie's coming downstairs to get you. Alright.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Oh my god.
Give him- Give him a kiss when you see me. When you see
Oh
him.
my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. Just tell your boyfriend that a Dominican guy is coming down to kiss him.
Yeah, Darren's cool. I like Darren.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yo, so now that I have like multiple posts together, I was gonna say I want to eventually do like a terrorist party where it's like I invited everyone who ever went on the show.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's quite an eclectic
Fuck it.
mix by now.
Oh
you know?
yes,
Yeah.
let's do it. I'm down. Totally.
If I could invite out of towners too, who I streamed with, like that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But also, I should tell you, Carmen and Richie and I are planning a drive down to Florida in September.
Oh, word. Nice.
It's gonna be during Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You want to come with us with Darren?
Ooh, maybe.
We're gonna drive to Miami.
When? What?
So like around between the dates of beginning and end of Rosh Hashanah and the days in between that.
I don't know what dates that are in the Gregorian. I guess I gotta look it up. Because I'm gonna be out of town until the 8th.
You could meet us in Miami.
That would be so dope, man. Let me think about it. That sounds really cool. Honestly, I've always.
what if
I've
they
always
met
wanted
us in
to see
Miami?
That'd be great. That'd make it easy, I think.
I
If you
think
guys
so,
go
too.
down, different people could meet in
Let
Miami.
me see when Rosh Hashanah is this year. Hold up.
Yeah, look
call
at-
yourself a Jew.
He's buying himself a Jew.
Yeah, see what I mean? This is his racism. This is how he's racist. He's like, wow, you call yourself like intellectual. It's like he'll know your shit. Like he'll be like, wow, Chris, you didn't know it was Chinese New Year. Even for Korean, you should know these things. Like,
Yeah, it's true. It is a.
I wonder if I'm gonna get canceled for all this Jew talk. And it's like, oh no, I'm offending myself.
now we talk about
getting canceled for offending myself.
Dude, like literally in the past 30
I
minutes,
will
we
not say
covered
that-
literally every ethnicity.
Every fucking
Well, I will
ethnicity.
say that Terrorisk is a philo-Semitic podcast. Everyone here is a big fan of the Jews.
That's true. I love the Jews.
Just title this episode, I love the
I mean,
Jews.
think about it. My full name is Christopher David Kim. I have the name of the king in you know in me. It's like I have to carry that shit. I don't like it sometimes. Sometimes it's whack, especially the name Christopher. Like it's an awkward name. It's not optimal. It's just it It doesn't sound good, and it's also burdensome. Like you have to carry Christ with you, that one troublesome Jew, wherever you go. You know, I'm never.
That's why you're such a fucking contrarian.
No one's free of the Jews. Even the Christians are never free of the Jews. Even the Christians have to owe everything.
I got an anti-Semite who moves to North Sentinel Island to get away from the Jews.
But you can't. There is. That's really funny. No, there is no getting away from the Jews. You can't. The Jews are they literally laid the foundation for our civilization.
No Jews, no news.
There you go.
Yep.
Jesus never said to hate the Jews. Jesus was like, bro, you should keep doing the Jewish stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep doing the practices.
Yeah.
He said, keep.
Hey.
Hey, Darren, what's up?
Hi, Darren. How's it going?
You came just in time. We're all talking about Jews.
Yeah, I heard you talking about all sorts of
Yeah. I'm Carmen, by the way, Darren. That's me.
Yeah. So right now,
We're also talking about the whole the thing that you always talk about, like the Asian.
Yo, talking to the mic.
I know, talking to the mic.
Oh yeah, they were talking.
So in walked Ariel's man friend,
Yeah.
boyfriend,
Hey.
fiance,
Hello?
husband. I don't know.
Yeah.
Darren's an interesting specimen. He's a half white, half Asian man.
It's true.
But the admixture, namely the parental admixture, is unusual.
And it's not unusual. It's optimal.
It is
It's
optimal.
not
It is
unusual,
statistically
it's optimal.
unusual.
Because you want the dad to be white, you want the mom. No, you want the mom to be white, and you want the dad to be Asian.
Yeah, same
Because
thing with
that's-
mulattoes, where you want the dad to be white and the mom to be black. Not
Otherwise, you
vice
get like
versa.
Elliot Rodger. You know, you get some fucked up like guy.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh my God.
Like they're always like crazy. They're insane. It's because they have this deep-seated insecurity. Like it's like I have colonization running through my fucking sexual identity.
Well,
It's fucked up, man. It's crazy.
Just imagine if Elliot Rodger had transitioned to female, how well she would have done. I think she's really one of the great tragedies of uncracked eggs that she just didn't transition.
Like her and Hitler.
Elliot,
Yeah, exactly.
Elliot-
like
no.
Führer in Hitler.
Elliot Rodger's soul took over Elliot Page's body, and that's why Elliot Page is haunted.
Ooh. Explains a lot, actually, now that I'm thinking
Yeah.
about that. Haunting image.
Elliot Page is fucking haunted by the spirit of Elliot Rodger, and that's why we have to deal with such a thing. I don't know. I feel for Elliot Page. I feel like Elliot Page, if they really have the money for it and they're gonna commit, they better be ready to bro down. They better be ready to shoot.
No,
guns.
he's
they better be ready to.
No, he just got ab implants rather than actually working out, which is why he has such a sickly body.
I can't trust a man that won't eat a hot dog, a meat hot dog. I can't trust a man that won't.
Really, any phallic object. Well, like Elliot Page still has lingering lesbianism that makes him adverse to hot dogs,
question
corn
is-
dogs, celery, bananas, zucchinis.
You know what though? I want to know how far Elliot Page's masculinity thing goes. Like how far would they be willing to go to prove their masculinity? Like would they be? I could gut this fish, no problem. Like or would they be like, I could change this like flat tire. I could change an intake manifold. I could swap
As
out.
per that howling mutant tweet, after watching Elliot Page spend an hour trying to split a log, hey, that's really cool, Elliot. Quick question: you still got that pussy?
Well,
no.
you know, I'm just thinking about what Darren's and my sensei told me in the martial art that he teaches, which is that gender, this specific martial art teaches that gender is really a spectrum, and we all have a bit of each gender inside of all of us. And I feel like that really jives with my whole worldview. You know, like I tend to see it more as a spectrum than as a binary. I think all that shit is just so limiting. And also, you know, what really makes someone, you know, act more like a man
Yeah,
or a
I think
woman.
the problem with the spectrum though is that it's still defined by the binary.
Yeah.
There is one thing that could subvert all of that is God, because God does transcend all binaries if you think about it. I'm
like
not saying like to be
that. I like
religious. I'm just
that.
saying like if I can't think of any concept known to man that could transcend such a binary. Because if you make it a spectrum, fair, but however, a spectrum again is defined by a binary, a range between both extreme ends. There's still a binary at play. Whereas if you have God, God is the source of all things, binary or not, right?
Yeah. You know, but yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think people get a little too caught up in
I think a
binaries
spectrum,
and limitations.
makes binaries
you know?
better. I think spectrums make binaries more workable. I think spectrums make binaries more interesting, and I think they make it more functional. I think instead of like 1 and 0, if you could have like all the decimals in between, you know, that's great. Then you could have modulation degrees. Like when I think in terms of engineering, you
I
need
agree.
modulation.
I do like that. Yeah, for sure.
The only thing that doesn't function in such like a modular spectrum type way is like electronics, right? Because electronics are so instantaneous and like 1 or 0. Like
That's true. Digital electronics.
Yep.
Yeah,
and that's
this is
that's
true.
the mentality and framework we're being pushed to, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. My I feel like my whole life MO is anti-binary and anti, you know, it's like just, you know, life is too complicated. There's just too many in betweens, and there's too much to explore. And I feel like my whole MO in life is to try and reach God anyway and transcend things.
But God is already in you.
Yeah, but I want to get more in touch with that side of myself, with that part of myself.
More in touch with your soul, because that's the godly essence in you.
Why do you think I'm sitting at home just doing art like a total fucking hermit every night? Yeah,
if you're doing what you love, then you don't have anything to worry about.
I hope so.
Because the way I see it, it's like it's not because I'm not trying to ever say like you have to be the strongest, you have to be the smartest, you have to be the closest to God. I just think your mind, body, and soul have to be not fucking with each other. Have to be not like. It's like an engine, you know, like the different components of the engine just can't be like lacking, not so they could be the best at something, just so they could not mess with each other so the whole thing could function. And that really just means A, letting go of harmful physical habits, B, letting go of harmful beliefs, and C, nourishing the soul by like being thankful, you know, and as long you don't have to be the best at either one of those things. If they're just not, you know, like disharmonized, then you'll if it's an engine, you're moving, and if it's moving cleanly, you're moving up. It's a spiral upwards. Whereas if it's dead in the water, then you're spiraling downwards like a drain.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to follow everything you just said.
Your subconscious will remember it. It's hard. But I mean, just mind, body, soul harmony. That's it. That's just think of mind, body, soul harmony.
Yeah, basically, exactly. I don't know. I think people get too caught up in I don't know the restrictions of this world and the constructs and you know what team you're supposed to be on and what body you're in and what you're supposed to do. Blah blah blah. Like it's all so stupid. This is why I just focus on music and art.
You know what I think really makes sages and like shamans or whatever, it's never like specialists are different and they're very important too. Specialists are the guys who find an external subject and master it obsessively to the point where they break known limits. Now a shaman or like a psychic or whatever or is someone who like engages with self-mastery. Like you could master all sorts of external things. You could master engineering, you could master psychology, you could master science, you could master theology, you could master whatever the fuck you want. But when you master yourself, then you can literally master whatever you want. Because what's stopping you? Definitely not yourself.
What if you masturbate yourself?
You master hating yourself?
No, I'm making a stupid sex joke.
Oh, masturbate yourself.
Yes.
No, I mean,
anyway, yeah, being a master of things, yeah.
I mean, no, not a master of things, master of self.
Yeah. So what does that mean to you?
Well, to me, that means almost an impossible ideal because I can't sit here and claim I mastered myself. I don't think any one of us can because think about it this way. We literally exist in service of the military industrial complex. None of us would be here. We exist because we're allowed to exist by the military industrial complex. Can I ask you something? Do you know what the population was in the year like in the early 20th century, like 1900?
No.
1.5 billion.
No fucking way.
Do you know what it turned into by 2015?
Jesus,
like
fucking 7.5. Yeah.
So you know what that means is, and do you know what the biggest difference was that caused that population jump?
What?
The Green Revolution.
It was industrial farming.
Yeah.
It was straight up. It was we took World War I bomb technology to artificially
fertilize. The Faber method.
Yeah, the Harbor. The Harbo-Ferber whatever method, Bosch method. Anyway, they learned how to artificially fertilize soil to the point where they could 10x crop yields.
Precisely, they pull ammonia out of the atmosphere.
Yep. And so think about it this way: like within 100 years, we literally 5x our population, our global population, pretty much.
And in very different places.
Crazy.
In 1900, 30%.
No wonder our world's all fucked up.
Well, yes. In 1900, 30% of the world's population was in Europe. Now it's like 8% of the world's population is in Europe.
Jeez.
Estimates on the population total of Africa are very spotty because all statistics and information out of Africa is very spotty. It's probably greatly or hopefully greatly exaggerated, the population of Africa. Even if it hinders me sexually from a limited, it means that there aren't as many sexual partners available. But I digress. Changes in the last 100 years due to industrial farming, due to advancements in sanitation and medicine, penicillin mainly, have led to a huge population increase all around the world.
Point being, this has been going on for multiple generations now. So every single one of us, we are products of the military industrial complex. If they never invented that once, and people have asked me, it's like, I need you to give me an exact date and time when we were completely enslaved by the MIC. And I'm like, first of all, I don't have to do that. There's no point in me going and like looking up the root of every single corporation within the umbrella of the MIC. All I have to do is point to the food. All right. After World War I, we solved the hunger crisis like that. And
also also petty detail, Green Revolution in the 1960s. I forget the scientist's name, but basically rice in particular and a few other staple crops are just far more nutritious today than they were 100 years ago due to adding thiamine, and there's some other basic nutrition that is now part of rice manufacture that makes it far more nutritious than it was previously.
Dude, our slavery has nothing to do with the decisions we make. Our slavery has everything to do with the conditions of our birth, the birth of our parents, and probably our grandparents. Like straight up, it's not really even about like
our great grandparents for most of us.
Exactly.
At least, I don't know, most of my industrialization beginning, second industrial revolution, starting in like 1860 or so. All of even very distant ancestors of ours lived in an industrial society, unless you're an immigrant, such as or your ancestors are relatively recent immigrants.
So basically, there's no question. We are all literally products of the military industrial complex. Like we exist to serve and work and eventually die. And everything from our birth to our death has already been planned out essentially on a meta level without the need for AI. This has been happening for apparently a few generations at least, you know? And I mean, all I can say is the solution is the only thing they can't touch without your explicit permission is your soul. They cannot prevent you from being grateful. They cannot prevent you from being thankful. They cannot prevent you from being thankful for life. They can't prevent you from being grateful for every single day. The only way they can harm you is to convince you to not be grateful, is to convince you that you're being treated unfairly, that you're entitled to more and more and more. And suddenly you're a millionaire and yet you still think you deserve more and you're being treated unfairly. Like, it's a scarcity mindset. It's artificial scarcity. We already solved the food problem. So everything else should fall in order. So scarcity is artificial as we know it. And that's what causes us to do evil fucking shit and go to war and shit. It's this artificial notion of scarcity.
I think you have a good point.
I mean, I'm not saying like maybe it's necessary. I don't know. I'm not an Illuminati member. Maybe if we don't do this, maybe we all die, right?
You think there's a possibly munificent purpose to all this?
Exactly. Like maybe they have to do this. Maybe they don't even want to do this to us. Maybe this is the only way for us to exist.
They seem a little twisted. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's.
It does. Yeah, that's true. Because there's all the sexual abuse and all the shit going on.
Up.
I was just telling Ariel today, like about how Elon offers his seed to women that he finds worthy, you know, and
Man, what the fuck? So twisted.
Carmen, if you're gonna talk, you're too good. You're too good at this, man. You need a microphone. Carmen is.
Oh no, let me swap out with Rich. Hold on.
Carmen is the people man. He's the people man.
Does his dick work at all?
I'm the producer man. He's the people man. Richie's the technical man.
I believe like another.
We all have our
the whole gang here.
Wait, come on. Rich can. Sorry, I'll actually get on mic. I was going to say Rich could always lean in over me because usually he's acting as my Ed McMahon or my...
Just so you know, like, it doesn't matter if you're not in the shot because
no, I know.
Primarily a podcast. Okay?
That's true. It's primarily the noise of my voice, but I also want to be polite enough and direct my attention on everyone else. I like actually leaning back in this chair with this microphone here. I like to imagine that I'm on talk radio in the heydays of the 80s or 90s.
I was explaining to Ariel how Carmen is is like an intellectual racist in a sense where he's racist in a very charming way. It's not done out of
Thank
hate.
you, man. I really appreciate that.
It's
It's like the highest praise I can possibly receive.
It's like it's never like, wow, this guy's so hateful to these races. It's more like, this is really annoying. He keeps fetishizing like black women and Chinese women and Jewish women like to such an extreme degree. He's like, I love your beak nose or your big black broad skeletal structure or your little.
I'm
Chinese
really fond
brain.
of how brachycephalic your cranial index is.
Yeah, he's really.
Brachycephalic means dog-like, by the way. It means a head that's wider than it is long. Dolichocephalic refers to a head that's longer than it is wide.
And he's into
I'm
this
sorry,
shit,
continue.
But it's cool that you do it with love because it just equals you like, I want to fuck these African women or I want to fuck these South American women or Peruvian women. You're like, I want. You're like a yeah, it is like Pokemon.
Yeah,
You're
it's like a
wanna try 'em all.
pickup
Gotta
artist,
catch
a
'em all.
Pokemon pickup artist.
Yeah, shit, that's fucking crazy, man.
Or are you all racist about it, like a woman safari? You know?
Yeah,
know what? It must
on
be-
a pussy
But at the
safari.
same time, like, how hard is it when you like educate them about their own culture? It's like, did you know that like
It
generations
can
ago,
be irritating. A big factor,
irritating.
a big factor is that it's a decent pickup technique with women who have immigrant parents or immigrants themselves. Anyone who's too assimilated, it becomes immediately alienating to them. And I'm not always very good at handling or like fixing that dynamic. I've alienated many women I could have otherwise had a chance with by not being able to rein myself in.
You just spurged out too hard.
Yeah, many such cases for me, but I also have a lot of opportunities.
But you also gained a lot of opportunities out of nowhere from
That's-
spurging too hard.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I found a form of spurging that is sexually attractive to some women.
Some women, yeah. I've met some of those women.
Yeah.
They were interesting characters.
hmm
Probably
there,
also Spurgs themselves, I imagine.
Well, they also hang out in like the Lower East Side of Manhattan, so they could probably, a lot of them don't come from money, but they come from like some.
Well, they come from middle class backgrounds,
upper
usually.
middle class
Or
or
upper
such.
middle class, which
It's like, yeah, my dad has a place in the LES or something. I know many such, and it's like, yeah, we all went to Yale or Harvard. But it must be interesting because, like, I go to their places, their apartments. It's like it's nothing to write home about.
a lot of those people are not really that upper crust. They're like
Yeah.
upper middle. It's
They
more
just
like
have prime real
their
estate.
parents are doctors. It's not like their
Yeah,
parents
yeah.
are people with Wikipedia.
They spend
articles.
most of their time at their family home in Connecticut or whatever, and that's why the kids like run amok in the LES apartment or whatever.
I don't even run amok that much, honestly. I've generally speaking, not always, but usually running amok goes wilder and wilder the lower class you are.
Sure, I agree.
Well, even if some people are
I don't
more
know.
are
What about,
obviously
like,
enabled
Paris
by wealth.
Hilton,
What?
Or what about Paris Hilton? Or
A poor Paris Hilton would have died of a drug overdose by now. It's like the big difference. She would have been like a meth whore, whereas
or she would have
like,
been an MMA fighter doing OnlyFans on the side.
yeah, or something. I don't know if she has the frame for that, but
does.
yeah.
She
Like
does.
Blicky, right? Like close.
What are you talking about?
Our friend Blicky is like basically Paris Hilton, like doing a constant bit.
Yeah, and she's what is she? She's from like an upper middle class background, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she's like a Nielsen allegedly. It's insane.
Yeah, well, maybe I know. You're right, and there are people who are scions or lesser scions of prominent families as well, who are more wealthy. I don't know. I've lost the thread of where we were going with this. Just about it appeals with some women and not with others.
Okay.
But it basically ended up just being a pickup artist technique for me.
See, this is why if we were all enlisted for World War III, I would want Carmen with me. No matter where I get sent, I know he could get me laid.
Oh, thanks. I don't know. Hopefully.
It's like, yo, Carmen, what do I say to this girl from Tehran? And he's like, well, here's her whole cultural history in a nutshell.
She's
Probably going to be like a kind of cringe shit lib that feels very old fashioned in some ways, but she also believes in like Aryan theories and talks about how she's an Aryan
Because they have
who-
access to 4chan.
Yeah, no, it's just part of the broader Persian cultural tradition. It's like a separate evolution of the 4chanerisms, but yes.
What's isn't even the name Iran something to do with like?
Land of the Aryans.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty epic.
It's just it's a word from like Proto-Indo-European that refer to this group of people and their descendants across Europe, the Middle East, and India. It's like Aryas or something is our vague reconstruction of the word, which is like men of iron or something like that. But you see people self-identifying as such from Europe to India.
Damn. Well, aside from Israel,
The Yamnaya expansion stuff starting in 3500 BC, but I've gone over this on the podcast before. I'm perhaps too intoxicated to give it coherently.
no,
Continue.
you're fine. You're not too intoxicated
Okay.
for anything. But I was just gonna say, like, it's not just the Middle East we have to worry about. We also have to worry about Russia and China.
China.
I love China. Most of my martial arts students are actually Chinese, which is why I suspect at least a couple of them are spies.
Oh, I bet a bunch are. I think we should just assume that any Chinese national is on some level a spy, even if they actually have genuine negative feelings about China.
I feel the same. I feel that way about Russians, honestly.
Yeah?
That's
take my
hardcore.
Okay.
For you, anyway. Tell me how you think. Like,
Yeah, okay.
tell me what's the likelihood that either of us knows a Russian spy.
Probably much lower than either of you knowing a Chinese spy. Just because, like, what? You have alien, maybe like some Brighton Beach people or whatever, but I don't know. It's like, my understanding is that the Russian community of America is a bunch of different kinds of immigrant ways from different parts of Russia. I know that, like, pre-fall of the Soviet Union Russians don't really interact with the post-fall of the Soviet Union Russians.
Aren't the pre-ones Jews that kind of fled when they had an opening?
A lot of the post are too, but yes, like the Jewish and Gentile Russian communities, I think have, I don't know, I don't remember the dynamics. It's like one group of them will interact with each other and the other won't. But I don't recall. I don't recall what that is.
I know a bunch, and they are not fond of each other.
Okay, that's why. Okay, so I was correct in that assessment of mealy mouth. I'm sure there are some young Russian expats who are in fact spies for the current Russian government, but I suspect a lot of them just are not. Whereas I suspect a lot of Chinese, or perhaps a lot of Israelis, probably a couple of other countries, have a higher population of spies within their general diaspora populations.
Well,
I think it's definitely true that a ton of Chinese expats or Chinese nationals in America are, to
Dude,
some
I might
minor
get with a
degree,
Chinese woman, honestly.
spies.
Every day it's looking more and more enticing.
Just cover your bases, you know.
Getting with a Chinese woman, yeah, she's got everything. You know, she's got what, you know. She'll chill. I'll be like, yo, you gotta listen to this punk rock and smoke this weed with me. She'll be like, all right, whatever.
Also, if you're boorish by American women's standards, you'll be an incredibly sensitive feminist by Chinese or many foreign women's standards. So, like, a women in America will be like, I can't believe you listened to Joe Rogan. But Chinese women will be like,
you are so enlightened.
you don't beat me. Whoa.
The stuff I hear about being raised with Confucianist principles sounds really.
I just want to say, like,
really sexist.
Like marrying a Chinese woman seems a lot more enticing than marrying like a South Korean woman, honestly.
Oh yeah, I can.
Why?
Well, given the insane feminism of South Korean women,
Yo, marrying a South Korean woman is like willingly putting yourself into a gigantic rice cooker for years until
What
you
the
die.
fuck? Why?
yo, Richie, can you rank your favorite Asian women?
Oh God. Japanese, Hapa, Chinese, Korean, probably.
It's its own category.
Yeah. It's his own like Asian.
Yeah, no, nice. Any feelings on Southeast Asians?
I don't know, dude.
I feel bad for him. Honestly, it's over, bro.
I'm
It's really over. Yeah.
Yo, Richie, aren't you interested in Indian chicks? Like, I'm interested.
Absolutely not.
I want.
Like
I
Zizek,
don't know. Like, maybe I want to get closer to Hinduism, and maybe I want to get closer to like.
It's not like almost none of them are going to be religiously
Maybe I
devout.
wanna become a bodhisattva.
Almost every single Indian you're going to meet is going to probably be like. There's so many Indian-born American girls that just desperately want to be Jews. They're ABCDs,
This is true,
American-born,
This is
confused
true.
ABCs.
No, this is so true. My brother who knows an Indian chick
I know
who's
an
marrying a
Indian-
Jewish
I know
guy.
an Indian guy
the
who's
Indians,
Jewish. I'm like,
Indians
you're not
love the
Jewish,
Jews.
bro.
No, they fucking love the Jews. It's a
Well,
thing.
it's because Judaism is also an ethno-religion like Hinduism.
No, a lot of it. So a friend of mine from India explained to me it's because a lot of Indians are Israel
Aligned.
supporters because
Yeah.
they're Hindus and they hate Muslims.
It's the
Yeah, that's why
That's
so
what I've been
many,
told.
so many arguments
Kabbalah.
online about
Kabbalah,
Israel.
huh?
Kabbalah,
yeah.
Oh, I got a lot to say about Kabbalah.
I
too.
love the Kabbalah.
Oh yeah.
I don't strictly abide by it. I'm just saying I think it's interesting. Why do they fuck kids or something? Like it's
No,
usually what any esoteric or
no.
occult mysticism falls short at fucking kids. Like that.
It's
Yeah, I
weird
don't
how
think
common
so.
it is that all of these esoteric things. It's like, we were talking about unlocking the secrets of the universe,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
really we just want to fuck
Fuck
kids.
it, yeah. Or it's like, we found the secrets of the universe, and it turns out there's only one source of the most like pure chi.
It's just fucking kids.
That's terrible. It's a bad conclusion to come to. I'm like, this is why I say look inwards. Like it's not about external shit. Just look inwards. Look at your own shit, and you'll find enlightenment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like look at deprive yourself of shit as much as you can, and you trust me, you'll see what you're really made of.
No, I agree.
Isn't that what the Knights Templar thought when they were fucking little boys going for the shithole?
I don't
you
agree
know?
with that. shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
See, what I mostly agree with is taking periods. Like, let's say you've been a lecherous king and you've did all sorts of dastardly shit, and suddenly, like, you did something so unforgivable to yourself, you can't even respect yourself. Like, you murdered your brother or something, and then you're like, I give up my kingly title. I'm going to go
fuck kids.
No, I'm going to go to the monks and like, whatever, find self-redemption. Because he already fucked kids. Remember, he was already the king.
Yeah.
Kings already fucked the kids. So he's like, but then when he killed his brother, that was the one thing that he could not redeem himself of. And that's really what it is. It's self-respect. You want to hear a funny story? So there's this facility down South Carolina or some such, where they train tier 1 operatives. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a guy who posts a lot on Facebook
or
about how
Joe
he's a tier-
Rogan. Joe Rogan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was interesting though is like in that facility, in that training facility, there's like a chalkboard or a writing board. It's like a permanent marker or whatever. So what you do is the game is you write what the question is, what is the meaning of life? And the idea is you write one thing, then you circle it, then you tie it back to something else that someone else wrote, one that they circled. And when you look at it over years and years and years, everyone wrote, like all Navy SEALs, Green Beret, fucking Delta Force, they all came through their training and they all wrote different shit, but they all tied to one thing the most consistently. Do you know
Fucking
what that
kids.
was? That would be interesting. But what do you think it was, if you had to guess, honestly? Honestly. Like, what did they all circle back to and tie to, like, consistently the most? Like, it's like if you look at this board, you see all these things written, but they all tie to one.
I don't know what, belief in God, discipline, and oneness.
I want to see what Darren says.
What, some kind of variant of eudaimonia, like this, just
What is it?
as in, like, I guess, like, like just self-fulfillment from,
That's good. So apparently what it was self-respect. Like whether they wrote freedom, America, family, independence.
Oh, they all their reviews were like a T-shirt where they were listing all these things and they underlined the most significant part, which is self-respect,
Self-respect.
and
That was
respect
it.
for the flag.
Even then, like everything
Yeah.
else, they put you could put up all sorts of shit like killing, being strong, freedom, America, love.
Coming.
But it all consistently connected to self-respect, and apparently consistently among some of the most brutal killers in the world, the most consistent meaning of life to them was self-respect. Because apparently you can't do anything without self-respect. You can't have a family in a healthy way without self-respect. You can't pursue your dream without self-respect. You can't pursue your goals without self-respect. You can't run a business without self-respect. So that was interesting to me. When I heard that, I was surprised. I thought it would be something gay, like love or like unity, but no, they said self-respect, and I was like, shit.
It ties in with that honor culture or those types of guys.
Warrior
It's
culture,
really
I guess, yeah.
Not that surprising, but I mean, the fact that they wanted to be the best, they didn't just want to chill in some cozy unit and just.
What was interesting though, that this was over years and years and years and years and years. So it's like maybe they would have seen trends, but no, like at the end of the day, the most like visual representation of what links to everyone's meaning of life was self-respect.
How often did they say bitches?
What?
Like, oh yeah, I'm a
Women,
Navy
pussy.
SEAL,
I
like,
bet
or
you that
whatever.
was up there.
I bet you
Apparently everything was up there. Everything.
I bet pussy was up there a lot.
Booze, cigarettes, steak, like whatever the fuck you could think of. But most of the things tied to self-respect. How can you enjoy a steak without self-respect? How can you enjoy fucking a child without self-respect? How can you enjoy committing genocide without self-respect? Like
I mean, the fact that they made it through, though, they were interviewing guys that made it, right? They didn't interview the guys that washed out.
I'm just trying to point out
different
how
motives,
universal and universally essential self-respect is, whether you're an evil man or a good man.
It might be
Either
a
way.
self-selected group, and
That's
you know,
true too.
Also, I mean, military intensity is different from like climbing the
plenty of
military industrial
bad,
complex
evil,
ladder intensity.
You know how many evil men must have been through there and been like, yeah, I also agree, self-respect. You know how many like men willing to sacrifice their lives for the person next to them was like, yeah, I agree, self-respect. That's what was interesting.
I don't know. Look at top dogs at like intelligence agencies. They don't seem to be like self-respect types. They seem to be like sell my soul for something else types of guys. But they
Yeah.
ride up there.
All
That's not
them wearing
necessarily
their pup dog masks.
All right.
Wow.
So I don't know much about the intelligence, but what I do know is that they're just human beings, right? So what they're taught is
they're all Mormons.
They're taught a system. They're taught a system of breaking through a person's defense. I was talking about this before. This was an intelligence tactic that I was talking to you before, how everyone has 3 different lives. They have a public-facing life, a private-facing life, and a secret life. And once you get into someone's secret life, you never get out. So like we were talking about relationships, how in a relationship you accidentally fall into each other's secret lives where you trauma dump on each other and tell each other's deepest, darkest secrets. And the funny thing about a secret life is that it may not even be rationally need to be secret. It could be something stupid, but to them it's the biggest secret in the world. Like they're gay. That could be their secret
When
life.
I was a teen,
or their secret life could be they're a pedophile. That
when
could
I
be
was
their
a
secret life, you know?
teenager, being extremely online and all my friends living online in other states was my secret life. And in my early 20s, I started hanging out with people I met online. I was like, oh, they're kind of awkward. They're just like nerdy guys like me. And no one cares that I met this person online years ago through a video game. And at that point, a lot of people in my life became a lot more freeing because a lot of things moved to just being my private life. As in, I would just say, oh yeah, my friend's coming over. Like, oh yeah, he's coming in from San Diego.
You know, that's so funny because when I was 13, I had no real life friends. I only had online friends, and it was also a secret life. I didn't really tell
I
my
think
mother
it's very
or anyone in real life. I didn't tell anyone in my life
You know what
about
that
all my
means?
online
That
friends.
means the
but I never
feds-
hung out with them online in real life.
I think this is a common millennial experience and a big generational
nerdy,
divide.
autistic,
No, no, no,
Is that
socially awkward
this is all-
millennial
every
experience.
Zoomer
This
has
is all
this.
planned. This means the intelligence community, aka the military-industrial complex, figured out how to quantify and categorize all of our collective secret lives. Our
What?
secret
I
lives used to
suppose
be.
the internet, makes it. Sorry, go on.
You think this shit wasn't controlled by the government from the beginning? Who do you think invented the internet as we know it?
DARPA.
Exactly. This was all
Oh,
this was all
yeah,
planned. This was
yeah.
all accounted for. The idea was they could not account for people's secret lives, whether you're a politician or an everyday Joe capable of doing a terrorist attack. So what do? They put us all on the internet. Now they have access to all of our secret lives. Whether we're talking to that one slut on Facebook who we think we can tell all our secrets to, or whether we're in a secret Facebook group and we think no one else has access. Dude, it's all there. Your secret life is now quantified again and categorized by the military-industrial complex. This is why we do what we do. This is why.
I suspect that all this is largely an emergent phenomena more than a planned
So what I'm
one.
saying is,
with
like,
one
fine.
caveat that theorists speculate about things like this. When you do all your like mid 20th century media theorists like Marshall McLuhan, etc., all the other name drops.
Eric Snowden literally got exiled to tell us this
Yeah.
shit, you know?
I don't think it was a deliberate choice. It might have been something they had dreamed of, but what emerged is something that was purely a like naturally occurring phenomena of having.
9/11 triggered a lot of it too.
Yeah.
The genesis of it.
Well, 9/11 was definitely
Yeah, that's
like a-
true. You
But
know,
that was the genesis
I
of
began
it.
hanging
Prime
out.
event,
I
you know,
began
so-
hanging out online with a bunch of people right after 9/11.
Well,
It's
it was. I
true.
mean, that's because that's when it was mass adopted, right?
Yeah, that's when
It's
they
like
pushed it.
that's
That's when they
when
were like, we need everyone online, everyone trackable, and we need to know exactly what they're fucking thinking.
Oh,
What
yeah.
better way is there?
Jeez, that's
They found the
fucked
best
up.
model, Mark Zuckerberg, to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole reason why I ended up going online and finding my friends online is just because I was very autistically obsessed with the Beatles, and no one in my actual life wanted to hear me talk about them anymore.
Yeah.
So I went, speaking of web forums, I stumbled upon a Beatles forum, and
This might be too private. Did you have like a large age gap romance when you were young?
No,
With
I
some.
didn't.
Okay, I was
No,
only
no.
wondering because of the Beatles
just
fandom.
no, no.
Yes.
No,
yes.
everyone who I found, they were teenagers.
Yeah, same.
And they were mostly girls.
That makes sense, actually, too. Same.
They were
because we
all
had
Beatles fans and classic rock fans, and we all felt like we'd been born in the wrong decade, and we all made personal websites and
Like I
fan
said,
sites. And that's how I got into
quantified.
That's
done,
how I got into web
organized.
design. That's how I got the
Yeah.
whole career I have now.
Now
It's a
you're a
shame that
productive
you-
member of society.
Oh
So you never had
wow!
a meetup with-
Translating my life into conspiracy talk.
It's not even just. It's just. It is what it is. So, like I
maybe.
said, the only thing they can't control, the only thing they can't fucking
Your
touch is
soul.
your soul. They can
And
touch
they're
everything else.
Very
Like,
interested in getting you
Yeah.
to kind of just give that one up too. You know,
there you go.
presenting these
Because what do? They
moral,
want to make you an atheist. They
quandaries,
want,
you know?
they want to convince you that we're just
Whoa.
a mass clump of cells that's
Fuck
meant to rot and die,
that.
or
I'm
with no soul.
agnostic.
Yeah. We're just a product of our environment, and we're just a product of our senses and sensory like input. Fuck that.
I
You know,
hate
like-
I hate religion, but I still believe in God. I think I'm agnostic.
I
My,
think there should be a
art and
difference, you
music
know?
is what gives me belief in God.
There you go. It's divine.
It is.
Martial arts to me is a divine construct.
It is.
Writing and speech is a divine construct.
Yeah, totally.
Music is definitely a divine construct.
Totally. So yeah, that's why I hate organized religion, and it really fucked up my life. But I don't know. When I was 13 and I first learned about atheism, at first I thought maybe I was an atheist because I fucking hated being a religious Jew so much.
They spoiled a
But
lot
then
of it, yeah.
I learned about agnosticism when I was 14 because my dad played me a recording about agnosticism, and I was like, I dig this. This resonates with me. Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to religion, it's funny. I mean, who killed Jesus at the end of the day? It was the religious people. The
Well,
Pharisee.
I think
Yeah,
the
yeah,
official
religion
answer-
fucking ruins it. It's true. It's all the religious fanatics. They just go killing everyone.
Jesus didn't hate the Jews. Jesus did not want to take down
Yeah.
Judaism. He was just like, yo, I think we lost our way.
Religious fanatics are the ones who can't handle the idea of peace and unity and people just living life.
I think this is his bog standard claim, but Christ is killed by religious authorities, state authorities, and the populace as a whole.
Well, who pushed?
I mean, look at
who pushed-
ISIS.
Who pushed Pontius to fucking put him to
It was
death?
the Pharisees, but also the responding to mass, the population. There's a lot of the population that's hostile to Christ, and there's a lot of supporters. And the notion of like a
Well,
passion.
why, the question is, why were there supporters in the first place?
Part of it's because of like what the top-down instruction from Pharisees and local religious and government
And is that
structure.
what- is that
but a
what
lot of it
unity
is
and love is
also
about?
it's also the cultural norms of Jews in Judea at that time.
And people
And-
were pissed off.
Right.
They were like, you're desecrating the temple of our father. You're fucking desecrating our practices. You're making it all about commerce, profit, and influence. And who has the most influence with God and the Pharisee and the holy men. And then that's why Jesus actually had power. I'm not even talking about whether he was right or wrong. That's just what gave him that pull at that time in Jerusalem, And the fucked up part was he aligned it with prophecy. So as he might as well have been right. And that was the most fucked up part. That's why it was like game and set. He was like, I'm ready to die for this. I'm ready to die to fucking fulfill this shit.
What religion were you raised?
My family was originally Buddhist, obviously, but apparently when my great grandmother had a very sick son, she tried to abide by Buddhist principles to save her son.
Oh shit.
And when that failed, she just immediately converted to Christ. And that to me was very cheap.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was kind of
Whoa.
cheap. I don't agree with that decision.
That's
But-
very common though.
Yeah, it was. So that's what it was. I was like, I get it.
Whoa, damn! I wasn't sure because I see a lot of Korean churches. So
She
could go
must have
either
looked
way.
at it as like, because I wasn't Christian, because I didn't give myself to Christ, this is why I lost my son. It was God's punishment. That's probably how they got her.
Like
That's
a
so
third
fucked up.
of Korea
Jeez.
is Christian. And that's split in between Catholics and
So it's easy
Presbyterians.
to tell all these Koreans who just lost their families and all whatever through the Korean War. They're like, this happened to you because you didn't abide by the Ten Commandments.
They
and you
didn't have a
abide by Christ."
top-down deterrence of Christianity like in Japan.
Well, even with the top-down deterrence, they still couldn't stop it in Japan because it was that powerful.
Yeah, the population
Because it
is
completely
low,
subverted
especially-
the empirical structure of their government and their politics. Same thing it did in Rome. Same thing it did in Jerusalem. Like it fucked everything up. Jesus was the guy. I don't know if he was the Messiah, but he was definitely the guy.
God, there's so many people who believe all kinds of weird people are the Messiah. It's like the Lubavitcher Jews with Schneerson. Like, you guys have seen those posters of their Rebbe
Yeah.
all over New York, right? Schneerson.
That's one
yeah.
of many Messiah crises in Jewish history. Like, I know that like a lot of Jewish history has like riled by like a false messiah thing, right?
I mean, there's so many different sects of Jews, and they all have different beliefs about the
Yeah.
Messiah. Then you also have the Neturei Karta and the Satmar, who are the most extreme sects of Hasidim,
landlords
and they
are
don't.
Satmar.
Oh shit!
I know, unfortunately.
They're intense. No, but they
Yeah.
literally they're so extreme. Like they literally believe Israel should not exist until the Messiah comes. And actually, this is a thing that really pisses me off because I see like these Jews, the Neturei Karta and the Satmar, they go to all the anti-Israel protests and shit, and then you get all the woke people and the liberals. They're like, oh yeah, look, see, these are the good Jews. And it's like, you guys, these people don't give a shit about Palestinians. They're just doing this for their own weird religious agenda, and all the other Jews hate them. They're being tokenized, and it pisses me off so much. So whoever's listening to this, don't follow the Satmar, don't follow the Neturei Karta, don't listen to Vice, don't listen to Humans of New York. Fuck all of that.
I think there's another factor.
fuck
Maybe
the
I'm
group
wrong
thing.
about this, but I suspect a lot of anti-Zionists are secular Jews, and perhaps there's a kind of tokenism that's very important to them to have an example of religious Jews who have the same political views as them. Does this track? Am I being coherent here?
I don't know.
That there's
I'm not
because
sure.
most religious
I don't know if
Jews are
that's
Zionists. Having a minority of ultra
most of them are
Orthodox or
Zionists.
anti-Zionists is
yeah.
reassuring on a non-political, psychological level for many secular anti-Zionists. Anti-Zionist
That's
Jews.
an interesting theory. That
I don't
might be
know. This is
some-
a guess based on the number of.
Yeah, who
I've
knows,
known
maybe.
so many anti-Zionist secular Jews.
You know what I think
Yeah,
would make
who
would complete
knows?
Judaism? A matriarchy. I think like what they need is to admit that women run the Jews because they
I mean, they
I think there's
are.
enough
They
ethnic
are a
jokes
matrilineal
about-
society.
because the Jews set it up where you're not Jewish unless your mom's Jewish.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And
exactly.
I get why because a woman can only give birth every 9
Yeah.
months. A guy can.
So you know it's hers. Yeah.
A guy can impregnate
Yeah.
like 100 women within a good day. Maybe,
This is true.
if he works hard.
Wait, 100 in a day?
if he works
What
hard.
the fuck?
The Coolidge
The
effect.
Coolidge effect.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but 100 times.
I mean, as a
Get the fuck
teenager,
outta
I
here.
agree. As a teenager,
I
I
need a
could
Randy knockup. That guinea pig, that you were showing me.
I mean, maybe if you come once and then just squeeze it in, like it's possible, you know.
As a
Injected
teen-
into every
as a
woman.
teenager, I could impregnate at most 19 women in a day.
I mean, if
Jeez,
Elon Musk
wow.
was psycho,
Probably
enough,
not, but
he
that
could
would be my
literally pay in
fantasy
a
of
single
teenage
day.
virility.
Elon Musk could pay 10,000 women to just be like, let me artificially inseminate you and I'll take care of you.
Yeah, he
forever.
fucking
He could
would.
literally do that.
He
And
could be like,
does
yeah,
do
he
that,
could be
and
like
he
a modern
barely
day
gives
Genghis
them any
Khan.
money.
I'm
It's
just
true.
saying he's able to do that.
He fucking could.
At least the Telegram guy's a real gent about it. He said
Yeah.
all 100 of his sons are gonna get some cash when he dies. You know?
I that's what I would do. I would be like, you guys all get a piece of my empire. You know? I'm gonna divide it up, and whatever you get, do whatever you can with
This
it.
is why generational wealth really doesn't happen that often. It's because of how much wealth is divided among children. Like Ireland
Look,
long
they keep
had,
having children.
Ireland long was very retarded in its feudal holdings and government organization due to the practice of gavelkind among their nobility, which is equally splitting the land among all sons.
Damn.
Yeah, it sounds like a recipe for like war eventually. And
Mostly it ended up just being a lot of like tiny fiefdoms all across Ireland before conquest
Now
by
Ireland
England.
is like a haven for corporate entities who want to avoid like paying obscene property taxes. So, if
Well,
you
that's an
want to-
interesting connection between it being a tax haven and
Absolutely.
their practice of gavelkind, which is a word I learned from Crusader Kings.
Interesting.
I take it you're a Salic primogeniture fan.
Yeah,
All right, wait. If you want to take a little,
maybe I'll maybe
if you want to take a little trip down gaming lane, I want to talk about a game I just played. It was new. It's called The Altars. It's a cool game.
Isn't it not out? Isn't it the one where the guys
out.
are not human or something?
Is it a pre-release? Is it
No,
not out yet?
the full release is out. I have it. So
What is it?
All right, so here's what it's about. You play as a guy on a space mission, a corporate-funded space mission. Your mission was to extract the mine for this rare element called rapidium. It's like a quantum element or an
What, a
element,
survival game?
an element that has like this quantum interference with reality or something, and it could basically fuel a lot of technologies that you just can't imagine otherwise. So anyway, what happens is the crew crashes, and the thing about every ship in this company is that they all equipped with a quantum computer. Now, when you crash on a planet, you accidentally end up where there's rupidium there. So you mine some rupidium. You're the only survivor, and now like shit's breaking down in your module. You're like, how do I survive this?
Is this
And then-
Pedro Pascal as the protagonist?
I think so. I don't know.
No, maybe not. Maybe it's like
You play as a Polish guy. I'm pretty sure his name is Jan Dolski, whatever. Anyway, so you basically shit starts breaking down, and then they're like, listen, you don't have anyone to help you, but you could create people to help you. And he's like, how? And they're like, you have rupidium, you have a quantum computer. So if you put those together, what you could do is you could generate entire parallel lifespans where you had different skills, different like, let's say there was a version of you that became a physicist, a version of you that became a technician, a security guard, a soldier, a doctor.
that's a very fun concept and a good colony build. That's
Yeah,
very interesting.
so the rupidium basically, because of its quantum properties, it speeds up biological process. So you're able to create a clone using the memories that the quantum computer generates to be able to create versions of yourself that is good at things that you need them to be good at. And it's fucked up because you bring them to life in the womb module. It's like, you ever play Fallout Shelter?
Yeah.
That's how your base is organized, except it's like, it's cooler. It's more
Yeah, it's an ant-hive base,
But
like an XCOM.
So there's a module called the
That's
womb.
a cute form.
Yeah, and then you make like versions of
And
yourself
what this
there.
allows you have an explanation for character death because
Yep.
you just have another altar built.
And it's fucked up because because you have a whole backstory, and it's like, oh yeah, this was the time when your dad was beating your mom, and you could have stand up to her, but you didn't. And that's you. That's the main you. But then there's a version of you
That's
that
very
actually
cute.
did stand up to him, and then now he's the strong version of
That's
you,
good,
and it's
okay.
like fuck, and you have to talk to him. He's like, oh, I guess that's where we're not so the same. You didn't stay around for mom, and he's like, and you have as a character have to be either get mad or be like, yeah, you're
Can
right.
you transition any of your altars and then fuck the female version of them?
No, there's no female.
They're gonna
version.
mob that for
I'm
sure.
sorry.
Okay.
But there may be a DLC.
Yeah, I would love a race swapping
No, there's no
version
race
of
swap.
this too.
It's because there's different versions based on different points in your timeline. where
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
branch off.
different- yeah, different.
It's like, this is when I went to college. I could have gone to medical school, but instead I went to community college. I stayed with my girlfriend, but we broke up anyway. And then now I'm a deadbeat. And that's who you are. You're the deadbeat. You're the deadbeat version of yourself. It's fucked up. So
Jesus.
the versions you're bringing back are like better than you. And they know it, but they're like, wait, you're the prime though? And then you're like, yeah, I created you. So they're like,
Ooh.
it's a fun game. Like, you have to talk to them and shit. It's
Just
fun.
being yourself disappointed in yourself, like just a cacophony of these guys. It's not
Exactly.
awful.
They're all like, wait, you didn't do this? What the fuck is wrong with you? Or
What
like,
the
you didn't do, yeah.
fuck?
I mean,
What
it
the
sounds like it would be a
hell?
really, it'd really kick you in the ass though.
Is this game supposed to motivate you to do better in life?
I don't know. I just really like this game.
I'm frankly terrified of these, alternates. In my head.
No, because
I'm
it's
like,
funny
oh.
because it's like let's say you get the doctor path, right? And then you bring a doctor version of you, but there's a version also that splits off from the doctor path that becomes a shrink. Because there was a point where it's like, you could have saved your mother. You could have stuck to your doctoral code. It's like, I cannot treat people, like give people special treatment. I cannot break the rules to save my mother. Or there's a version of you that did it anyway, and she still dies. So you become like a badass doctor. But the one that's stuck to the medical code and lets his mother die becomes a shrink. So there's two different doctors you could get if you follow the doctor route, unlock the shrink route. It's crazy. It's a crazy fucking game.
I guess they would have to be better than you because there would be something really sick about making a worse version of yourself to feel better. Just like
Exactly.
some bum going here.
Or not
you
even-
made me.
But you got to understand, this was out of a necessity. It's like, let's say one of your guys get injured. It's like, I need a doctor. Or let's
Right.
say part of a ship breaks down. I can't fix this. I need a technician. Like that's the whole reason why it's done. It's good. It's just well put together. And I think of myself in that situation. I'm like, that would be fucked up. Like, I would kill myself. I'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Imagine, like, you see a version of yourself. It's like, yeah, I was in the Olympics. Like,
Oh
what the
my
fuck,
God.
you weren't? Like, I was a swimming champion 12 times over. Like, come
I
on,
think
Ariel.
I think the only thing that would really make me depressed is if famous artist version of me walked up.
Oh,
to
she was like, yeah, I'm a
myself,
cellist.
yeah.
I played with Yo-Yo Ma, like, a bunch of
Yeah, I
times.
know. Yeah, like I fucking released 10 graphic novels by age 35.
And I was in Delta Force. Like,
Yeah.
I killed 20 terrorists. Like,
Well, I don't know. I don't care about that, but yeah, anything music or art related, I'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I think we could all say some variation of that, honestly. That's the interesting
Yeah.
part. This is why I fucking love this game. It was just so good.
I think you would need the shrink version of yourself just to deal with the situation.
That's why you bring him back. That's
like,
what-
okay, these guys are driving me crazy.
It feels like a very relatable,
Well, what
particularly millennial concern.
the
I
thing
can certainly fantasize and fantasize about that many times.
Look, the easy part is like managing the guys yourself. Is like your own guys, but the hard part is when they start fighting amongst each other. You know, because then you got
oh, they're all deferential to you as the
imagine a
prime
version-
one.
Yeah, imagine a version of you that became neo-Nazi meeting up with the version of you that became like a straight up neoliberal hippie, and then they have to meet in the same place, and then you're like, guys, listen, you're both retarded. Just calm down, and then they're both like, "Fuck you, Carmen Prime. We hate you."
Why do they defer to your authority anyway? Because
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I could see an understanding of having like a deep psychological feeling that you ought to defer to the authority of the base, the germ line.
This is why you have to make friends with the version of you that joined the Marines at 18, and then he's like, "I got you, bro. Like, you help me out with this, and I'll fuck them up for you." And then this is how you keep them in order. And you create a module in your base called the Contemplation Room. It's basically a cell where you know, like. Got to keep them in there.
Well, that's a great concept. That one guy ends up becoming the queen of an ant hive of clones.
100%. It's a good game, dude. You got to try this. And it's like it's just one of those games where you play it like once, you play it again, and then again, and again.
What's it called again? Alter?
The
Altars,
The
yeah.
Altars.
Yo,
It seems too slick and
Ariel.
probably boring. I only
can
like.
you use the mouse and click. You see where the blue thing is on where it says like scene 2? Click on scene 1. Yes. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
I think I may have broke that. This microphone came off, but I retouched it.
It's fine.
Check. Speak into your mic.
Does this work?
Yeah, it works.
Okay, cool.
It does. Okay, cool.
Yeah. See, the Altars is a good game. I was waiting for it to come out because as soon as I heard the concept, I was like, "This is."
I stopped playing video games about 8 months ago.
Yo, there's a parallel version of you on YouTube. His name is Noah Caldwell Gervais, and he is the best video game reviewer in the fucking world.
Man, I should have taken that.
I'm serious,
Perhaps.
like-
I believe you.
Even if you don't like video games, you watch any one of his video game reviews, they're worth watching because this is a man who was born to write essays, and he just chose to write them about video games.
Yes.
And the reason why he's so great is because he follows a format that works. You know, like he rips off of his favorite travel blogs. He's like every video game is like a place you could visit. You know, every video game has its own history, its own context, meta context, its own story, its own experience, its own features, and it's just good. So if you want to watch good video game reviews, watch Noah Caldwell Gervais. You looking at the time? We just hit the 2 hour mark, right?
Yeah, we did. Just at 2 hours.
We're probably gonna extend it a little bit because Darren is like such a good addition. I mean, he may not show it now, but every time Darren comes on, he always talks some good shit. I mean, all right. Here's what I'll decide. We'll draw and to decide what we'll talk about next. Temperance. We're gonna. All right. So
Temperance.
What are some bad things that happened to you that you could have done something about but you just didn't? Like treated unfairly, and you were like, I could fucking hit this guy, and I just did not.
Wait, bad things that could have happened to you.
No,
but-
bad.
That
like,
did.
Like people that fucked you over, and then you could have done something, but you just didn't.
Oh,
And you were
good
patient.
question.
Or when you didn't get your way right away, and you could get mad about it, but you were like, you know what? I'll
It's
get
a good
another shot.
question. It's a really good question.
I think that's what temperance is about, right? Temperance is patience.
I thought that was prudence. Like temperance to me
That
seems
is
more
prudence. Temperance is moderating. I was ready to go with moderation.
Moderation.
Of, I don't know, not drinking too much or things like that. Usually in temperance because you hear the temperance movement, right?
Yeah.
As opposed, you're describing moments of times where you lost control of
can
yourself.
you Google temperance at the definition, Ariel? Please. You're manning the station now.
Yeah.
You're manning the battle station. It's a cool scene.
I'm
When
like
you
the
sit there,
drone
it feels cool,
operator.
right?
Yeah,
Kind of has like a sci-fi.
you're like a
vibe.
secretary.
Also, your keyboard has that
That's-
satisfying.
yeah.
The
crunch.
mechanical. Yeah.
keyboard, yeah.
Temperance, moderation,
Read
and
it.
self
Read it out loud.
It's defined in modern use as moderation or voluntary self-restraint. It is typically described in terms of what a person voluntarily refrains from doing.
I like how you
Alright.
purposely
Actually-
ignored the AI answer. You were like, "Fuck this."
Yeah,
fucking
fuck that.
Actually,
no,
you're right.
it lies.
Indulging
It tells.
rage.
It's been wrong. It's lied to me about things
Hell
before.
yeah! No, I automatically I
that.
saw your value. I was
Yeah,
like,
you fucking saw
you were
that
like,
shit.
fuck this. Yeah.
No, deadass. I was entering an award and it lied to me about the award. If I'd trusted the AI thing, it would have fucked me over. So yeah, kids, don't fucking
Listen
trust
to the
AI.
yeah. What about you, Darren? Are you anti-AI?
I mean, I'll use it occasionally, but I actually wasn't even aware that it was. I don't use Google, so this is new to me.
Oh yeah, it's
there you
really
go.
stupid.
All right.
Yeah, you're
What
not
about you,
missing
What
anything.
about
Yeah.
you, Carmen? Do you trust AI?
No, I don't know. I guess it feels like a big gimmick. I keep waiting
I don't
for.
trust AI, so we're all old people. We're all
I think
people
it's it.
that
I
dying
probably
breed.
don't use it enough because I'm too old. I probably could make better use of my life if I actually really implemented and engaged with it. I'm probably missing
I use
out.
it sometimes, like I'll use it to generate cover photos for our
Yeah, there's really
Terrorisk
interesting
podcast.
stuff. I find it a fascinating advancement, but also one that I don't know. It'll be interesting if a lot of dumb people just become smarter because they're using AI. Like if
that's what's happening, dude.
if
That's the
the
problem.
left hand of the bell curve just spends all their time taking advice from ChatGPT, they'll probably be a lot better
Dude,
people.
imagine being
and
a-
they'll be more socially functioning and effectively. If they outsource their
it's not like that, Carmen.
What?
Imagine being a bad person, but now you know karate and you can build a potato cannon. Like, come on. You know, like you don't.
I don't trust AI to do that as well as it is to inform. If a poor person types into ChatGPT, should I spend all of my money on gambling? And the AI says, no, that's a terrible idea. You should pay for your basic necessities and don't eat out. Learn how to cook. I'll show you how to cook. I
let's
think
talk-
AI could cause dumb people to be more socially competent and to take better care of themselves.
I agree.
And I don't trust AI to teach a person how to do kung fu. I don't think the technology can do that. I think it can hold the hand only by text of people who are interacting with it, and it can also engage in a lot of narcissistic
But what if
behaviors.
the text tells you it's like find a kung fu school with a long lineage and being able to prove their long lineage and just keep practicing? What if the AI tells you that through text?
That sounds like it would improve the person's life if they did that.
In my experience, it doesn't know about any of those martial those arts.
You know what it does do? It does know how to Google every martial arts school with a website and knows how to read the Google reviews.
If AI
I mean-
directly guides you to the best way to train to become a martial artist, that sounds like a fantastic achievement for human
I-
cultivation.
The question is, do you trust user reviews? Do you trust user reviews of people who visit these gyms, these martial arts schools, these dojos, and they're like, this is my experience here. I give it 3 stars. I give it 5 stars. I give it 4 stars. I give it 1 star. Like, do you trust
Everyone
those?
gives things 1 or 5 stars.
Because that's what makes the AI, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
that
it does.
data makes the AI. Like, we wonder, where does the data come from? There. Like,
You
when
know-
everyone just unwittingly, just when they get the text message, you came to our mechanic shop. How did you feel about our experience? Oh, you felt good? Please write a Google review. You know how many people will actually say yes? I fucking couldn't be bothered as shit, but a lot of people would because they got nothing better to do.
You know, I gotta say, speaking of leaving reviews and AI, something really, really good happened to my dad because of AI. My dad is a piano teacher and he teaches online. And he recently got a student from Singapore who lives in Singapore. And the student found my dad literally because he went to ChatGPT and asked, you know, what are some good piano teachers I could study with? And ChatGPT recommended my father. So I thought that was a really cool. That's like the best AI
He's
story
smart.
I've ever
Your
heard.
dad's smart. He's chosen.
He is.
chosen
No,
by
my
the AI.
dad
So-
is all in on this AI trend. Like my dad is
Well, he's
really.
financially benefited.
He's
been
more in on
chosen.
it than I am. Even.
He's been chosen as a vanguard of the new machine god.
Yeah, seriously though.
Literally, that's what, because the machine god will choose. The machine
My-
god will choose its fucking vanguards.
My dad, when it comes to technology, he's really good at keeping up with the times. I will say better than I am even.
You know what? I could personally say it wasn't the machine gods that took me. What found me first was esoteric Japanese swordsmanship. It's kind of whack because it's
yeah.
never gonna get me rich. It's never gonna make me money. It's never gonna make me famous. But it's cool. I like it. I enjoy it. So I could devote myself
all
to that. you know?
good. Yeah, whatever. Money.
The spirit took
yeah.
me. You know, like the spirit of Japanese swordsmanship was like, "Hey, Chris, you're a perfect specimen. I'm gonna use you as my avatar." And I'm like,
That's
"All
good
right."
though. That's important.
I suppose.
That shit matters.
Because that's the one thing that like I have no choice. I feel like I have no choice in. You know, like I feel like
Yeah.
it's just if I believed in God, I would be like, this is probably what God wanted me to do.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing that was so effortless. Like I, it's like imagine like me going to God and be like, I want to devote my life to music, and God looks at me and goes, the best I could do is an uncanny ability in Japanese swordsmanship. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like,
I mean, I get it. That's like me with visual art. It just
yeah, you're
comes
like, I
out
want to
of
do this.
me.
And God's like, no, but I'm going to make you really good at this.
That's just
Yeah.
it just happens. I can do it in my sleep. Look, this is a. I don't know if I can show stuff on the camera or what, but
Camera's over there.
yeah, but this is a drawing that I recently
Put it
did.
in front of the camera.
It's in front of the camera. I'll tell you when it's up.
That's all.
That's cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's a painting. It's a draw. It's drawing and painting, some mixed media. It's part of my Bodega Cat comic that I'm making.
I see it actually directly, not on video.
Yeah.
Yo, Ariel, I got a question. How do you
Yeah.
feel about graffiti?
I love graffiti.
Did you ever do graffiti?
I wanted to when I was in high school.
I could take you to do graffiti.
I joined the mural club. in
Like when
high
I say I was a
school.
bad kid and like all the things I got arrested for, it was mostly for like vandalism and graffiti and like
Oh,
stealing
wow.
spray paint.
Wow. Yeah, I never did
mean,
any illegal graffiti.
I would never be like the type of grown adult with those experiences to say like, oh, I was justified because it was just art. Art is not a crime. I'm like, no, that was a terrible thing to do. Like to go out and write on people's shit. You got to be an insecure like motherfucker or a child
Yeah.
to like think that's a good idea. So
I-
I
yeah.
recognize that, but at the same time, I don't regret it. It was pretty fucking interesting.
I would consider wheat pasting possibly.
Because graffiti is more than the law states it is. It's also a political statement. It's also like it could be like a revolutionary act. It could also be a gang act, like a territorial act.
yeah.
Like yo,
That's
wrote
how
this game.
that's how Basquiat got his start. He had his
Exactly.
buddy, and they created a team, and they called it SAMO, which stands for same old shit. So they went around the city tagging SAMO everywhere.
It's crazy shit.
Yeah.
Just like the mythological, like, not Fountain of Youth, what's the word I want to use? Cornucopia from Finnish myth.
I like that.
I
one.
I thought you were about to talk about the fruit on the loom cornucopia.
That's what
the-
exactly-
No,
was
that,
talking
that,
the Mandela effect.
effect. No, I was going to say, I really liked your New Yorker drawing
Oh, thank you.
with the Amish people referring to Hasids.
Oh, you saw
Oh,
art?
thanks.
No, I was just looking at other
Here.
parts of your account without permission.
Oh,
I really like your stuff.
I'm
by the way.
flattered you're calling it New Yorker drawing. It never appeared in the New Yorker, but I'm flattered that.
Well,
you
I thought it was
did.
the style you're emulating.
Oh yeah. It was inspired for it. Definitely an influence, but yeah.
Yo, Ariel, how do you feel about the formula of storytelling?
What is
Very
the
broad.
formula of storytelling?
The monomyth. The idea that all stories essentially follow a one framework. Yes, there's different variations of the single framework, but they all essentially follow a similar pattern.
Are we talking about Joseph Campbell or something?
Yeah, it is Joseph Campbell.
Well, I
He's
was
talking
thinking of
about the
Dan,
monomyth.
or Dan Harmon, you know, or
Dan Harmon's referencing was learning from Joseph Campbell,
who had
who
the
was a
act.
young
He
kid.
had the act structure, right, which is
Yeah.
act 1, act 2, and Dan Harmon turned that act structure of the line into a circle, because the circle, well, a TV show necessitates a circle as opposed to a movie, which could be done with a line or a play or a theatrical act, because you only need a few acts and you need scenes in between. I get that, but with a show, a television show, you have to figure out a way where it concludes at the end of it, but it doesn't conclude too finally where you can't make another episode. So you have to create a cycle, a circle. Now there's a possibility that this cycle is satanic, but I don't think so. I think the circle is an illusion. When you turn it on its axis, it's no longer a circle, it becomes a spiral. And it's either a spiral upwards or a spiral downwards. This is why I think reality shows can be very divine. I think here's what I love about reality shows. This is what any good reality show is about. Let's say you take a person who's fucked up, but they don't know they're fucked up. You put them in a situation where they realize they're fucked up, and then you watch them try to not be fucked up. Like that's the meaning of life to me. And like any good reality show does that.
So does Fish Tank fail on a basic level
Yes.
because
Well, no,
everyone goes
Fish Tank
in
does
knows
that. Fish
that they're
Tank does
fucked up?
that. Fish Tank is a good reality show because Sam Hyde's fucking insane 4D conceptual fucking
Or
reality
perhaps
show.
the truer form of it because of how self-referential
It does it.
everyone
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Because everyone who goes through that shit, they become reflective. They literally go through moments where they're like, wow, I really am just a piece of shit with a scrotum head, and I really am awkward around the wrong
And all
people.
of the people who take part on it are very odd individuals of varying degrees of this self-reflection.
And some
or
people,
not.
it works the opposite way. For some people who participate in Fish Tank, they realize they're more than they thought they were. They realize I'm not just an idiot with a stupid fucking autistic slur. Like I'm actually a person that people want to watch. You know, like I mean, J J J J J J J J J.
I just have to say, I love how often Sam Hyde has been coming up between you guys. Do you guys know about that documentary that he spent trolling iDubbbz the entire time?
No, I don't.
Oh, I don't know. Dimitri knows about this. He's the one who told me.
But
Yeah. It
don't
just
know.
sounds really
Very vaguely,
ridiculous.
but I've never seen it, unfortunately.
well,
It's been
iDubbbz.
released,
Well,
yeah.
iDubbbz himself. He just kind of sunk himself into a hole, right?
Something like that. I don't
Yeah.
remember all the details, but he got offended by something, and then Sam Hyde decided to just make a whole documentary
Well,
trolling him in
iDubbbz' wife
response.
is this very unstable OnlyFans porn online
shit.
porn.
I didn't know that.
Production. She's stupid. She's a dumb
the
fucking
fuck?
bitch. And it's like iDubbbz. It's okay. Like first of all, if you're a dumb fucking bitch, I don't hate you. In fact, I love you. I fucked plenty of dumb fucking bitches, and I had a great time. All I'm saying is, if you're iDubbbz and you want to like give off this image of someone who's like mentally healthy, married to someone, like you don't want to be you don't want to be married to a dumb fucking bitch. I'm sorry. Like I don't mind if dumb fucking bitches exist. Okay, but if you're iDubbbz and you want to not be like considered a fool, then don't marry a dumb fucking bitch. You know, like just don't do it.
Are you saying that's the reason why Sam Hyde trolled him?
No, iDubbbz. Well, first of all, Sam Hyde is.
I forgot the whole.
Sam Hyde is a
lore.
controversial figure.
Yeah,
So
he's a
iDubbbz is like just basically a liberal populist tool who wants to always like go after things that he feels would get him clout, and he barked up the wrong tree. Sam
Oh,
Hyde is the
shit.
wrong tree.
Oh my god. Right.
You know what? I'm not even trying to like gas up Sam Hyde for this. I'm just saying any right-minded person would be the wrong tree to bark up, because like if you're a guy like iDubbbz who has so many fucking bullshit, like so much bullshit in the structures of his own house, you're gonna go after me, a person who's been through this, and I don't give a fuck, brother. You're barking up the wrong tree.
You're in for it.
That's what happened. Like Sam Hyde isn't particularly anyone special, but he's been through shit. He's seen shit. He is insightful because of that. So if a guy like iDubbbz, who's he's all potatoes and no meat, motherfucker, like you're in for a bad time. That's exactly what happened. Am I wrong here? Like I think that's exactly what it is. Like
I have not followed the drama enough to comment.
What about
on
you,
it any
Richie?
level.
Right,
yeah, that's really what it is. I mean,
Someone's just a troll too. He's a profound troll.
Sam Hyde is a profound troll.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even remember all the details of this whole thing. I just think the whole idea of this drama is really funny because
No,
it sounds
it's-
really ridiculous.
Dude, first of all, the reason why this is enabled is because we are not living in the same times as the pre-industrial revolution. we are living in a time of abundance, and the sooner people can
yeah, you're
fucking,
not wrong.
the sooner people can admit that,
You're
is the
fucking
sooner,
right.
Is the sooner we could solve a lot of our stupid fucking.
You're
social
totally
issues.
right because because now,
People are living off
Yeah.
of scarcity, like an artificial scarcity, and that's what's creating a lot of our.
Well, you
social
get
problems.
very focused on like social status is zero sum, even as food and entertainment and other technologies and supplies increase. Dynamics would have worked better on the village level, get jostled by mass media, possibility of people moving around. People get very fixated on like social status and prestige, particularly when it's the only thing that matters.
I mean, we have so many people just. I don't know if this is what you're talking about with the whole post-industrial thing, but we have so many people just fucking around, and I mean that's kind
Yeah,
of what
like me.
that's what my Bodega Cat story is about. Really, in a way, it's about how you see these guys at the bodega who are just there every day, and it's like, what are they even doing all day? And they just stand
Well, to
around
be
talking.
fair-
Like every New York deli or bagel shop or what store has like a guy like this. And they're just, standing
much
around talking about stupid shit or causing dumb shit. And it's like, what even, like what?
crashing out.
Yeah.
Prior to modern entertainment and surplus, a lot of people, their free time is just lounging about.
And crashing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter-gatherer
so
society.
first
But
of
this is a very specific type of.
So I just want to say something about crashing out. You guys all know what it means to crash out, right?
Yes.
Actually, no.
Losing your marbles, going apeshit.
Like you ever see on Instagram, like, yo, I'm about to drive this car into a McDonald's fucking thing.
What
They'll
the
do it.
fuck?
They'll say they're doing it for clout, but categorically they're crashing out.
So it's running
That's
amok in
insane.
old terms.
Yeah.
It's It's African American vernacular English for running amok, or also just having a meltdown.
Yes. Like let's say you're a rapper who's dealing with a lot of communal drama, and you start shooting guns in the air and inviting people to shoot you. That's a form of crashing out. Let's say you drive a car into a McDonald's. It's a form of crashing out. Let's say you rob a bank because
Just
you're
losing your fucking mind.
Yeah.
But also a lot of more mild things like being very mopey after a breakup are also crashing
Now, what
out.
we're getting this, because the problem is social media is facilitating this actively. Like,
Yeah, you're not wrong.
people on Instagram are making money from quote unquote crashing out.
That's so fucking stupid.
So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the crash out is literally just a product of, I don't know, I guess not being aligned. You know, if you're not aligned, then you really don't know what you're living for. And it's also what Jung predicted, right? Carl Jung. He was like, he specifically
Shadow
said,
self.
yeah, if you keep repressing your shit, it's going to come out. And that's
He's
really
right.
what the crash outs are examples of. Like, it's never crash outs of people who are comfortable with themselves and like working their shitty little job because they could comfortably feed their kids to send them to school and maybe they can make their way to college. Like, those guys are at peace. It's always the celebrities, it's always the hoodlums, it's always the rappers, it's always the people that are influencers, like white women on the airlines. It's always like,
While a large influencer group, white women on the airlines. I just look at the network of white women airline influencers.
because there's a lot of alcohol consumption involved with those kinds of scenarios. All I'm saying
you
is
mean
like,
travelogue, like Instagram influencers.
but all I'm saying is like, this is textbook Jungian shit where he said like,
Yeah,
if you keep repressing your
true.
stuff, it's gonna come out. And if we live in an age where everything's publicized and everything's constantly documented and recorded, well, guess what? It's going to expand further, and they call it the standalone complex.
On some level, maybe that's sort of what my Bodega Cat story is, because it's just kind of like looking at the people there from the cat's eyes. And, you know, the cat's just watching these people come in day after day, getting involved in bullshit and drama and beefs. And it's just like, what the fuck is everyone here doing?
I don't know. It sounds like they're living a rich, exciting life.
It sounds like they're trying to buy.
Do you want to be these people? Do you want to fucking get into?
Yeah.
Do you?
Norman is these
Do
people.
you want to get into drama outside
No,
the
he doesn't get into
bodega?
drama, but he
you
is
want to
the-
get into a fight?
No, like, in that
you want to
scenario-
argue about
No,
conspiracies?
Yo, every scenario you just like
That's
named,
you? Okay.
No. What I'm
not
saying,
judging.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like every single one of those scenarios is a fly somewhere on the wall.
Exactly.
Carmen is that fly. He's not the guy
Oh,
fighting people.
yeah,
He's not the
yeah.
guy like causing trouble. He's the fly who sees it all.
That's kind of me too. I mean,
fly on the
I go
wall.
into these places and I take
just love
notes.
seeing an ethnic conflict happen in New York City.
Yeah, me
He doesn't-
too.
I'm
he doesn't
just like
cause it.
coming in
He
my
doesn't
pants
encourage it.
watching it.
But he's
It's
just
mad
like he's
funny.
like, I'm just here to buy like some pipe cleaners from the bodega that sells.
Oh
it.
yeah, it's a
And
very common bodega item. I suppose if they're a
Mm.
head shop as well, they might have pipe cleaners, but
I remember I was in a bagel place once, and there were the guy who owned it or the manager. He was going on some giant rant to someone there about, oh, the world is ending, blah blah blah. And then he just goes, Greece, Italy, basket case economies.
yeah,
it's
I love New York.
because it's like these guys. It's like they're standing around and they're having like their world summit. It's like their conference of world affairs, and they all have to show what an expert they are.
No,
on
but it's as above, so
whatever.
below. Usually, like below is a microcosm of above, and vice versa is a macrocosm of below.
I mean, I get half my news, from those guys when I'm going to the store. I'm
That's
not-
what I'm talking about.
Right?
So,
Exactly.
they provide a service.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, put it this way: like, you know how many stockbrokers will like they buy their shit breakfast from a deli every day,
Yes.
and then they're like making
Oh.
their decisions every day. But then one day they hear like,
Okay.
dude, I can't afford to buy
Okay.
gas anymore, and they're like, oh shit. That's
Oh
not a
my
good sign.
God.
If my deli guy can't afford to buy his gas, and I've known him for 10 years,
Okay,
like I got to do something about
I have
this.
to.
You know?
Yes, I have to show you now something. Wait, no, I actually can't show because. So, there is a newspaper called the Red Hook Star Review, and I got invited to make a monthly comic as part of a monthly comics page that some other artists are also doing. And my first comic strip is kind of about what you're talking about. I did a version of Bodega Cat for this, and it's like a stockbroker guy going into the deli, and he's stepped into the lair of the bums who are just there all day, and you can tell there's a tension there and a discomfort, and they're all like kind of barking at him. And anyway, I'm not allowed to show it because they have 1 month exclusive rights. So yeah, go pick up a copy of this paper in early July when it comes out.
Well, at least you give
Where is it coming out?
I will find out and let you know. But it's like Red Hook, Carroll Gardens, like that whole Park Slope. It's that whole area, and it's given out for free. So maybe it's just in random stores.
Fuck yeah.
But it's true anyway. Yeah. So that's kind of what my thing is about. It's that whole tension between the productive members of society and the people who are just there all day.
Yeah, after this, you got. Oh, what time is it right now?
It's 12:45.
All right, so I gotta drive them to Brooklyn. You guys are going home, so like after this, you guys want to go to a bar and just have one drink together before we call it a
Yeah,
night?
Sure.
Darren, you down?
We're going into Brooklyn.
No, I'm saying we could just stay around locally.
Around here?
We go to the Hop Shop, go to the Coop.
All right, sounds good.
Sure.
Well, the Coop is a real cocktail bar, though. I don't know if Carmen might go there and be all judgmental. He's like,
No, I wouldn't. I'm not judging. I'm like a hack as a cocktail.
because do you like the Coop?
Could
I would love
suggest
to go to a
Steiny's,
cocktail bar.
Oh, Steiny's.
Steiny's.
Love Steiny's.
Last time I went to the Coop, the guy was hitting on my sister and being pissy with me. So.
Ew. Fuck that.
Yo, there was a guy when I went to the Coop. There was a guy. This other co-host I have, Brendan. He was wearing one. You know the one of those flat caps.
Yeah,
So he was chilling.
like a newsboy cap.
Yeah, he was wearing one of those. And then the bartender was off duty, and there was another bartender. But the old bartender, he comes on. He's like, he goes up to my friend. He's like, "Yo, your hat makes it look like you get no pussy." And then I just looked at my friend, and he just looks down. I immediately got up and got in his face. I'm like, "What the fuck did you say, yo, bro? I'll slap the shit out of you."
Amazing.
And my friend Brett and everyone was like, "Yo, calm down." You know, they were looking at
Oh
me
my
like I was in the
God.
wrong. I was like, "What the fuck?" So, but
I'm
then
aggressive.
his coworkers, the guy's coworkers, like took him out of the bar. They were like, "Dude, you're crazy. Like, get the fuck out of here." So, like, he was outside, and I was like pumped up, and like everyone else was trying to forget it happened.
You're airboxing outside waiting for him.
No. So what I did is I took off my belt, put it around my neck, just in case. I go outside, and I'm like, first thing I did is I put my hands up, and I tell him, I was like, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have reacted that way. I apologize. It's just you know, you said that to my friend, and I'm sorry." Like,
This is just like the corn pop story. You're
right.
Joe Biden. You're like
Joe Biden.
You're corn pop in this story, and also Joe Biden.
All I said was I apologize, because I knew if I apologized to him, that would diffuse the situation. Even though I didn't do anything wrong, my friend didn't do anything wrong. I just knew if I went up to him like in his state, I was like, "Yo, my bad." And he was like, "You're a better man than me." You know, I was like, "All right, whatever."
I would fucking love to see that guy go up to the old Italian men who sit outside the espresso cafes in Diker Heights, who wear the flat caps and smoke cigars, and use that line, "Oh yeah, your hat makes you look like you get no pussy." I would love to see how they would react to
Well, if
that.
you're an old paisan, it doesn't look like that at all. It's, you know, if you're like a weird guy that's covering up his baldness, it's a different story.
But yeah, we should definitely hit the North Shore.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
The
We can go
North
to-
Shore and where and oh yeah, Steiny's. Yeah. Oh, that's what you mean by the North Shore. This is Staten Island parlance. Okay.
Wait, Steiny's is the one with the outdoor backyard area.
No, it's the one next to the theater. It's at the.
Oh,
It's close to the ferry.
It's
okay, I'm
it's
down.
close to the Coop too. Yeah.
Yeah, I vote
Do you like the Hop Shop?
Steiny's.
You know, actually, I was planning on going and never went.
you never went to the Hop Shop?
No,
Oh.
not a big Staten Island bar guy usually, but
Me neither. But we could go to the Hop Shop.
We can
Carmen's even been to the Hop Shop.
I have. I would like to see the. I would like to see the coop.
You never been to the Coop?
No, I would love to see it.
All right, so it's a cash only bar. I'll bring cash. I have cash, and then it'll be fun because they only have cocktails. Like they have like good cocktails.
The Hop Shop or
No,
the Coop?
The coop. The hop shop's
Right across the
gastropub.
street. Right across the street.
Oh, so we're going to the bar where they hit on Robin and gave Darren attitude.
Yeah. Hopefully that guy's not there though.
Yeah, it's
We
okay.
don't-
I'm
no,
not
no,
opposed.
We don't have to go to the Coop though.
No, I'm not opposed. I'm not
Wait,
opposed.
did you say the wait Stein? I haven't been to Steiny's or whatever. That sounds fun.
I love
Steiny's, yeah,
Steiny's.
definitely like one of those eccentric dive bars that's nearby.
I'm down.
Steiny's is the kind of place where it's technically a gay bar, but you know, it's,
Gay bars don't really exist
But you can't
anymore.
really, but you can't really tell. Like you could walk in there and find just Staten Island bro types or queer people, and neither one really feels out of place.
So I mean, it was formerly an old man bar that got taken
Nice.
over by the
Tom-
gays.
Gays,
Got
yeah.
counter taken over by everybody else. So
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm down.
It's
Like
just one of those
Chinatown.
places where anyone can go and fit in. Basically,
So it's an old
That's why I
man
like
bar,
it.
but they don't have like Tom and Finland illustrations out.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I love old gay man
wait,
bars.
I
that
have
are
a
like
Tom of
that.
Finland.
I have a Tom of Finland illustration in my house.
Oh, like an actual.
It's the first thing.
Sitting over the mantle.
It's an
yeah.
original poster that I bought.
What?
Yes,
That's
you gotta
awesome.
come to my house. Wait,
I wanna see that
Here, let me
shit.
find a picture. I have a picture on my phone.
I love Tom of Finland.
Are we
He makes
still?
good-
Are we still in
he makes
the?
good art.
Yeah.
It makes for an
Oh
imposing
my
presence
God.
in her place, but
It's
yeah.
the first thing you see when you
Right?
walk
You're
in.
like, oh.
I set it up so that people will see it immediately when they walk.
I saw a guy
in.
once like Tom Film tattoo on his bicep. It was insane.
What?
Yeah, it's incredible. Some gay guy. He brought rules.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I got it. It's an original poster. I got it at an exhibit of his I saw in Berlin.
Because like if you see the picture of the guy, he's like a super serious, like looking slick back artist, with just like serious face, just drawing this gay
Yeah.
shit. Awesome.
Hit me with that gay shit. Miss me with that gay shit. No, but it's really great. I love just having it there. No, because originally I wanted to put it on the wall, the other wall that's facing my computer, but then I realized, it's like then my work clients are gonna see it. I'm like, okay, I don't want a Leatherman's balls in all my clients' faces. I don't want to get fired, so I put it on the other side. Which faces the door, and it's like, well, whoever comes to my house, whatever, they're just gonna have to deal with it.
Do you have any R. Crump pictures?
I love our crumb.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with our crumb.
Carmen and I, we both love R. Crumb.
I love our crumb so much.
Yeah, the documentary is delightful.
Yes.
Love him as an
I'm
artist.
obsessed with our crumb.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
How do you spell
seem
that?
like an R. Crumb fan.
How do you spell it? Art
R.
Crumb?
Robert Crumb.
R.
R period space
I'll,
CRUMB.
Hang on, I'll pull it up. Are we still talking into the mics?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
good. R. Crumb.
This is gonna be a long ass
fucking
episode. but I'll edit it.
recording. It's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
It's a good party episode.
Yeah.
This is actually a good episode, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
All right.
Robert Crumb.
I'm so obsessed with him. He is my biggest.
You should
influence.
on the middle screen, the second screen from the left. Click on. You see in that monitor.
OBS?
Ariel.
Go to OBS.
OBS.
Wait,
And just click on the second, the bottom.
Left
yeah.
side. That one.
That'll show
Oh,
everything. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Cool. Yeah.
This is cool. It's like pinup shit almost.
Far more perverse. A fantastic figure in underground comics, hugely influential in America. There's a wonderful Terry Zwigoff documentary about him from the 90s.
I love our Crumb because he just he did not censor himself. Like he just he delved so deep into his psyche, and he just went there. He thoroughly excavated it. Like he wasn't afraid to delve into all the fucked up shit in his mind. He, like Jung would say, this is a man who has confronted his shadow self through art. No, and he did. He also wrote about. He made a comic about his first acid trip, and he did a lot of music stuff. Like he did the Janis Joplin album cover, "Cheap Thrills," and he did an entire book of blues and country and jazz artists. He was a huge fan of blues, country, and jazz. I don't know. He's not. He's alive. He's not dead. I don't know what I'm saying was, but yeah. You see, here's more. Here's one of his blues drawings.
Yo, can you pull up some of your art before we end the episode?
Yeah, we could do that. All right. I will go on Instagram.
I hope you don't have to sign in to see it.
Oh, I think you need to be logged in.
All right. Go to the bottom bar,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the way bottom, and you see the one right next to Terrorisk? Yeah, that one.
Wait, this one
Yeah,
here?
that one.
This?
That's Instagram.
Oh, all right. Okay, cool. All right.
Got that Instagram.
It's right. No, that's me.
Oh wow, that's pretty. I forgot. Yeah, yo, Carmen, look at this.
What?
You don't have to. You don't have to put it. I'll,
Oh, I don't know. I just do it out of boredom. Not even boredom. Just you can have erotic. I just was looking at it before.
All right, but you gotta. This is all right. So if you
Guys,
wait.
Yowie, yowie.
Oh, look at all the haters that I got. Really poor
Wait,
taste.
Carmen, just put that
this
down,
ain't
and then
it.
we'll sign out the episode.
And then people were liking the
Because this
memes.
art is like really good. This is awesome.
You know, it was meant to be a peace drawing.
It is peaceful.
And
I think it's very
people-
peaceful.
yeah.
No, I think it's very peaceful. It's a very Tel Aviv message of
it
give
is.
gay sex a chance.
Yeah, hell yeah, exactly.
Very Fujoshi.
It's so true, though. Yeah.
Even the Romans said it.
Uh,
Greeks too.
this
Oh,
is
yeah.
Bodega Cat.
Bodega Cat. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Thanks.
I like the Bodega Cat.
This, fuck. I'm trying to think of the 90s. Besides, not
Oh,
Terry
wait,
Zwigoff.
this is
the
good stuff.
90s.
Thanks.
Right here? Like, look at this
Thanks.
shit.
It is.
Thank you.
It's fucking epic.
Thank you.
I'll clip this part.
All right.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like this. Blah blah blah.
I like
also-
the
also
time
just
lapse
wanted-
stuff is like ultra. That's like doing God's work.
Oh, thanks.
I was going to say you have a Daniel Cowes influence or Claus.
Oh wow, you know Close. He's also a huge influence of mine.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
it
you know
seems-
comics.
Not really. I know a little bit about a lot of things. I had to look up his name, but I recognized the artist I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I was
Who's
just
that guy that
guessing
makes it
your
like this?
influences.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the artist that was the illustrator for Reason magazine and Black Hole. I forgot.
Oh, Charles Burns. I'm
Yeah.
a huge fan of Charles Burns too. Yeah.
Wow, I'm very good at
Oh,
guessing.
you're
these, yeah.
recognizing all my influences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, you really know comics.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
I know the things that are warranted for having a conversation where it impresses
Yo,
someone.
we'll definitely do an episode like this again, but we gotta head to
Yeah.
that bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good night,
yeah.
everyone. Wait, hold on. You have to
All
end the recording. Hold on.
Wait, I just want to say thank you. I want to say
Yeah.
thank you to everyone listening, and it was
Yeah. Thank you for everyone joining us.
yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
time. Thank you, Darren, for coming too.
Of course.
Yeah, let's do this.